So, Jude, one of the things I love about where we're located for CanJam London, it's in the heart of Westminster, and we're surrounded by so many wonderful monuments and landmarks, but it also has so much history around it.
So much history.
Yep, so much. And this year also marks a monumental year for CanJam London because we're kind of doing our own bit of history here.
I was hoping you'd tee that up for me. Yes, so this year, CanJam London 2025 is our 10-year anniversary of CanJam London. Our first one was CanJam London 2015
right
at the Hotel Russell, which isn't called the Russell anymore. I don't know what it's called now. But and it was such a different vibe back then.
Yeah.
And I love seeing what it's become. And you know, the funny thing is, when I think of, like, in the U.S., the sort of OG HeadFi community, I always think of New York.
Right.
That's where our first event was. That was the New York National HeadFi meet that ended up becoming CanJam. And I feel like outside of the U.S., our OG community, our HeadFi community, is in the U.K.
Yeah.
So I am so pumped. Every year we go back to CanJam London. This year is, like you said, quite special. It's our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, so please come celebrate our 10-year anniversary with us. We're going to be in London July 19th and 20th, 2025. We are returning once again to the Park Plaza Westminster Bridge Hotel in Westminster. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this year's CanJam London is shaping up to be the largest CanJam London ever.
I do believe it's looking that way, yeah.
Yeah, so this video is probably going to be our longest CanJam London preview video ever as well. We got to get straight into it.
Woohoo! This is the Astell&Kern Audma SP4000. This is Astell&Kern's latest flagship digital audio player. I am wildly in love with it. I'm going to explain why shortly. So I want to tell a quick story. I go to CanJam Shanghai 2025, and this had been announced, but it wasn't released yet at the time of the show. So I decide, because we got one early, to load it up with music, bring it to the show, just for my own personal use so I could audition IEMs and headphones with it.
Right.
I didn't think anybody would notice it because it looks so much like an SP3000 at first blush. I was so wrong. So within minutes of the show starting, I'm at an IEM manufacturer's exhibit, and some sharp-eyed headfire sees it and says, "Is that an SP4000?" I was like, oh, totally surprised. I was like, yeah, it is. And he said, "Can I try it?" So I pass it across the exhibit to him. He listens to it, and within minutes, there are like 6 or 7 other guys passing it around to each other, and it took me like an hour and a half to get it back from those dudes. Yeah. It was fun to watch, though. They were so enthusiastic about it. But my point of bringing that up is this played out several more times during that CanJam Shanghai weekend. People found out I had it. They wanted to hear it. So I spent a lot of time at that show letting people audition the SP4000. And to a person, every single person that gave me feedback about it, that heard it, loved it, as do I. I'll talk more about why in a minute. Let's talk about what's different about it. So inside the SP4000, you'll find the AKM AK4191, AK4499EX combo.
Yep.
We've seen that combo before. What we haven't seen until the SP4000 is 4 of each of them in what Astell&Kern calls a real quad DAC configuration. It's the only such, I think it's the only device using that configuration right now.
Yeah, I can't think of any others.
I can't think of any either. The body is stainless steel, made of 904L stainless steel. It's a high-end stainless steel used like in very expensive watches.
And it's beautiful.
It is gorgeous. And they've used it before.
Yeah.
But what they've done here is they've softened the corners.
I love that so much.
The edges. Yeah, I agree. It looks more liquid and it's more comfortable in the hand.
Yes.
There's a 6-inch 2K display, 2160 by 1080 resolution.
And it's beautiful.
It's also big.
Yeah.
That's a big display for a digital audio player. Storage, 256 gigs built in with micro SD card expansion, of course. Bluetooth with all the high-res codecs I'd expect. The next feature I just want to introduce more than just talk about.
Sure.
Astell&Kern enthusiasts are familiar with that screen.
Right.
They're less familiar with that screen.
Yeah.
The Astell&Kern SP4000 is the first Astell&Kern device to support full open Android OS. Open Android, guys. We've been asking for this for a long time from Astell&Kern. We finally got it, and they've done it right, as you'd expect from Astell&Kern. They are bypassing any sample rate conversion limitations that Android can impart, so they've done it right. So we're good there. 10 hours of runtime from a 6,780 milliamp hour lithium polymer battery.
It's a big battery.
It's a huge battery. It needs it.
Yeah, it does.
For all the features I'm about to describe, and most specifically, there is something with the SP4000 I think that is very important called high driving mode. So the SP4000 features twice as many op amps arranged in parallel compared to previous models, which would have half the op amps arranged in series. As I understand it, this gives it quite a bit more current drive. probably why we need that big old battery. Now, as far as the battery life goes, by the way, I get you can watch it in high driving mode, that battery life dwindle.
Yeah.
But it's enough battery that I have no issues in my typical use cases. I haven't run out of battery yet,
Right.
but I do have to charge it at the end of a day of use. The SP4000 also has something called Advanced DAR. That's their second generation digital audio remaster technology. It's a new 2-stage higher end version of digital audio remaster. I think that's important to it. ESA technology is something that they've incorporated that eliminates group delay or reduces group delay. They say eliminates it. The SP4000 incorporates a newly implemented LDO, low dropout regulator, that reduces noise by up to 97% compared to previous models. That's saying something, given that Astell&Kern players are pretty dead quiet in terms of self-noise.
Yeah.
I guess the SP4000 is dead quieter.
I guess so.
For the first time in Astell&Kern's lineup, the SP4000 employs a precision-engineered shield can made from 99.9% pure copper. Okay, there's a whole bunch of other improvements, but here's my point. They have put so much into this player that it is the biggest leap in a generation that they've had, in my opinion, and to my ears, and just based on the feedback, since like the AK240 a zillion years ago. What does it sound like? It sounds more like a desktop rig. Solidity, beautiful imaging, richness, resolution, all the things that I would expect from a really outstanding desktop rig in this. For anything that I would drive with a portable digital audio player, it's the best sounding digital audio player I've heard so far.
Yeah.
It's that good. It's a big deal. And even with some things I wouldn't normally drive with a portable player, like the Meze Audio Elite, drives it beautifully. I've been using it a lot with the SP4000. Tried the OG Susvara.
Really?
Unbelievably. Drives it. Wouldn't be my first choice for it, but the Susvara unveiled. Okay, we're talking. Utopia 2022, the ZMF Atrium. All right. Those are all things I don't usually drive a lot with a portable digital audio player. What do I usually use? IEMs. Even the most demanding IEMs should be no issue for the high driving mode of the SP4000. And with the really sensitive in-ears, like one of my references is a Visioneer's VE10, very sensitive in-ear, I still use high driving mode with that, even though it's really sensitive. And it just sounds better in that mode. And of course, it's dead quiet. This is probably going to be immensely popular. I know it'll be immensely popular. CanJam, there'll probably be a lineup to hear it. I think it'll end up being the most popular, best-selling, flagship class, flagship price digital audio player we've seen to date. It is that good.
Now, I have no doubt that the Audma SP4000 is going to be incredibly popular at CanJam, but there's another DAP that I want to mention because I don't think this should be lost in the SP4000's shadow.
I agree completely.
Yeah, this is the Astell&Kern PD10. Now, the PD10 is not part of any other line of Astell&Kern, but it is part of the Astell&Kern family. It's kind of like the Con in that regard.
Right.
It's its own thing. Inside of this, there are 4 of AKM's AK4498EX DACs and 2 of the AK4191 EQs. Now, when this launched, Astell&Kern says that it was the world's first application of the AK4498EX in a digital audio player. And I love that because Astell&Kern, they're one of those companies that like to be at the forefront of DAC technology, and they incorporate them into their digital audio players, their flagship class players, and they do it well.
Yeah, and they often do it first.
Yeah, it's fantastic how they did that. They've also done something else that I think might be a first inside of this. This has an impedance adaptive dual amplification system. Now, I'm going to need to explain this because there are 2 amplification circuits inside, a normal gain circuit and a high gain circuit. Well, why would they split those up like that? Well, let me give you the answer in their words. Astell&Kern says that the normal gain amp reproduces delicate details and high purity sound quality, expressing the original sound faithfully. And for the high gain amp, it's specialized in handling complex and dynamic sounds, expressing audio signals more vividly and clearly. Basically, that one is specifically voiced for high impedance, high gain, driving, demanding headphones. Now, you've mentioned before that you actually listen to a lot of stuff in that high gain mode.
I did.
I do want to mention it is very quiet. So even if you're listening to IEMs, you're not going to run into an issue in the high gain mode.
Yeah, I gravitated to that mode.
And if you like that sound more, just stick with the high gain mode. But if you want to swap back and forth, you can do that manually, or they have what's called smart gain, which is basically an automatic amplifier matching mode. You plug in your headphones into the PD10 and it instantly checks the impedance upon plugging in your earphones or headphones, automatically setting the appropriate amp, which I think is very cool if you're not really interested in just messing around in menus all the time and you just want to pop one out, pop in a headphone, it'll change for you. It also has independent dual audio circuits for unbalanced and balanced outputs. There's so much going on the amplifier side of this that it's amazing they fit it all into a digital audio player that's this size. It does have a nice big 6-inch screen. That's a touch screen, 2160 by 1080 resolution, and it's all within a lovely stainless steel body. But the body, it's kind of unorthodox for me because when I think flagship class Astell&Kern players, I think of knobs, I think of dials.
Angles.
Yeah, there are no knobs or dials on this at all, and it's very rectangular.
Yeah.
It's all button-based for the UI, and I actually kind of dig that it's a bit different.
I actually love the design, and it's very sleek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stands out on its own. It has a built-in memory. You get 256 gigabytes of storage built right into it. You can expand via microSD to, I think, 2 terabytes, if I'm not mistaken. It has a massive battery, 5,770 milliamp, 3.8 volt lithium polymer battery, which Astell&Kern says delivers a battery life up to 15 hours. And when you think about Astell&Kern's players, that's rather generous. I can't think of too many that have that kind of battery life from them.
That's pretty generous for any DAW.
Yeah, it really is. There's something else that's included in this bundle that I want to mention as well. On the table here, we have a dock. This cradle is included with the PD10. So you get a desktop, basically a desktop charger, but it also has dual 3-pin XLR in the rear. So if you want to incorporate this into a desktop system or into a 2-channel system, you can take this with you on the road, come home, plug it in, it starts charging, and now it's the DAC for your audio system.
Yeah, I think that's very cool.
I love that they include it. It's not an optional extra. So you're probably thinking already, this is probably going to break the bank. It's not cheap, but it's only $2,500. So when you think about everything you're getting, a flagship class digital audio player from Astell&Kern, a dedicated dock, and some really cool amplification circuitry and design in this player, the SP4000 is going to have a line, so why not start here? qobuz will be joining us at CanJam London, and they're also one of our CanJam London 2025 event sponsors, so thank you qobuz for helping make CanJam London possible this year. Now, you already know about qobuz's music streaming service. You know that they have a massive library of music, from audiophile favorites to more avant-garde artists, and you know about their excellent offline mode, which lets you download music to your personal devices ahead of CanJam, so you're not trying to rely on crowded Wi-Fi or spotty cellular connections. But have you heard about their latest feature that was just added? This is qobuz Connect. qobuz says that qobuz Connect enables users to stream music directly using qobuz to control compatible hi-fi devices without the need for third-party applications. What can this mean for me personally? It means that I can control my listening experience with qobuz Connect and ditch the need for multiple remotes or apps. I'll be able to pop open qobuz on my Mac, select a compatible device, and get going. The list of supported brands include Eversolo, Focal, Shanling, T+A, IEM, and many other Headfire favorites. Now, I haven't had the chance to play with qobuz Connect yet. After all, it just launched at High-End Munich this year, and I don't have a compatible device in my rig. But at CanJam London, we'll be able to get a demo of qobuz Connect to see how it can streamline our listening experiences.
There are times I don't want to carry a portable digital audio player.
Sure.
I know you find that hard to believe because I'm almost always carrying a portable digital audio player.
Yeah, or two.
True. Or two. But there are sometimes I know you find it hard to believe that I don't want to carry one, especially when I'm carrying like a small sling bag instead of a backpack.
Yeah.
And when I do that, I just want to turn my phone into a portable digital audio player with something like this, like a dongle DAC. And this is the Campfire Audio Relay. This is a lovely little dongle DAC. It's a USB-C dongle DAC that uses the AKM AK4493 SEQ chip. It can decode PCM up to 32768 and DSD. And Campfire Audio says they selected it for its wonderful combination of technical ability and its special edge of analog warmth and tonality.
Yeah, that sounds very Campfire Audio to me.
It does sound very Campfire Audio.
Yeah.
They also use 2 ultra-low noise high-output drivers. So it has 2 gain settings. In low gain setting, from the unbalanced output, it'll drive up to 1.35 volts RMS, from balanced up to 2.7 volts RMS. That's in low gain. And high gain, from unbalanced up to 2 volts RMS, and from balanced up to 4 volts RMS. There are 6 selectable filter modes, 60-step precision volume control, anodized aluminum body with a transparent window.
It is a nice design body.
I dig that transparent window. It shows off the AKM AK4493 SEQ chip, which I think is neat. And I like the fact that the Campfire Audio logo glows when you plug it in. 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter outputs, supports Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS. The accessories are actually, I think they're kind of cool because
I like them.
Brian and I are both kind of like backpack nuts.
Yeah.
And we like the fabric that it uses. The little case has black cushioned ripstop.
Yes, I love ripstop.
Yeah, I like that too. And it comes with a 6-centimeter USB-C to USB-C cable and a microfiber cleaning cloth, which you sometimes need because that glass can be fingerprint prone.
It's going to get a lot.
And it's $229.
Yes.
So this By the way, I used it, speaking of the 2 ultra-low noise high output drivers, I used it with one of my most sensitive IEMs, which is the Campfire Audio Clara.
Yeah.
Clara. It is quite sensitive. Plugged it in, it's essentially dead silent.
Yeah.
What I also like about this is some dongle DACs are more prone to cell phone radio noise. And with both of my phones, one an Android, one an iPhone, it's quiet.
Right.
Which is very important to me, because then it gives me that illusion that my phone just turned into a high-end portable digital audio player when I do not want to carry one. And I love the fact that this gives me the option to not carry a portable digital audio player. At CanJam, this is a little dongle DAC that everybody there should audition. This is the FIIO K17, and as you well know, I've fallen in love with this FIIO K17.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what it is. The FIIO K17 is a fully balanced desktop DAC amp. I love that it has a relatively compact footprint because, as you know, I don't really have much room on any of my desks, so that's always nice. Now, the DAC section of the FIIO K17 is built around AKM's flagship AK4191, AK4499EX combo, and there are 2 of the AK4499EXs in there, so the DAC section is extremely capable on the K17. But the amp section is also very capable.
Yeah.
It's actually a discrete Class AB transistor amplifier circuit. I love that it's a discrete design. I love that it outputs up to 4,000 milliwatts.
Yep.
It has quite a bit of drive. And I also love the fact that it's so flexible in its drive and so quiet in terms of self-noise that I can plug the most sensitive in-ears into it. No self-noise whatsoever. It's what I call, that amp helps it become what I call a reviewer's amp.
Yeah.
In that you can plug anything into it, including hard to drive over ears or, like I said, super sensitive in ears. I love the flexibility of FIIO's desktop components these days. They have so many inputs and outputs.
Oh, yeah.
For example, the USB inputs on this.
Yeah.
Back and front.
Yes, I love seeing USB-C on the front because if I have something like a phone or a laptop that I don't want to get behind the unit and plug it in, I could just sit down, quickly plug it in, get to listening.
Exactly. My main computer is plugged into the USB-C input on the back.
Yeah.
And on the front, if I want to use, like you mentioned, like a tablet or a DAP or my phone and just DAC it really quickly using the K17, it's nice to have that front access. So that's a lovely thing. And then, again, a slew of inputs and outputs. It also has Bluetooth, which we both actually really appreciate.
Yeah, and networking support.
Oh, yeah, networking support. Ethernet, Wi-Fi. And it's dual band, 2.4G, 5G. I do love that it has, for balanced headphone outputs, as well as unbalanced, by the way, but it has 4.4 millimeter and XLR.
Yes, it's nice to see both.
Again, makes it more of a reviewer's amp.
Yeah.
Right? So no matter what you have, you can plug it in. Okay. Now, on HeadFi's forums, FIIO confirmed for somebody who asked if this was the successor of the very popular FIIO K9 Pro, and they said, yes, it is.
Okay, they look nothing alike.
They look nothing alike. And the K9 Pro is immensely popular.
Yeah.
But the K17, and something I love about it, is it has that retro look.
Yes.
It has that retro look, and it's also a retro sort of touchy-feely thing, too, with the knobs.
Yeah.
So, for example, the gain settings that I talked, 5 different gain settings on that amp, from, low to whatever the highest is, like ultra or decibel. I don't remember what they call the highest setting. And it's done with a knob that has such a nice feel. And I like having that instead of going through a menu setting to change gain settings. I love that it's just a knob. And the funny thing about it is the screen also looks kind of retro.
Yeah.
It's kind of this basic looking screen, but that's also just, kind of the style. If you swipe left to right, and it is a touch screen, which may not be obvious when you first look at it, and it comes with a remote, but you can swipe left to right on the touch screen, and it just unveils, like right away, a slew of options.
Yeah.
Right? So anyways, we won't get into that. But one of the options we should mention, 31-band high-precision lossless PEQ, a parametric EQ,
right,
including some presets, which are nice. I actually used the Jazz preset with a headphone that I was driving with it just before we shot this. And I should also mention, as with anything from FIIO these days, especially in terms of their electronics, they use the highest quality components inside.
They do.
And this thing is loaded.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look through those top vents, and you can see the electronics go like right up just underneath the top surface. So I bet you if we open this thing up, it probably just has layers of stuff going on inside.
Yeah.
So the FIIO K17 to me is so easy to fall in love with. I think it's a fantastic successor to the K9 Pro. I love the retro look and feel. It's a very exciting piece. You can see why I've fallen in love with it. It's a can't miss at CanJam. So we were just talking about the FIIO K17 while we had a black FIIO K17 sitting on that table in front of us.
Yep.
So now people are probably wondering, why are they doing another segment but with a silver K17 on the table instead? because we're not. That's a FIIO K15. So the K17, which has been a fantastic success, and understandably so for FIIO, since the release of the K17, they released the more affordable sibling, the K15. It looks a lot like a K17.
Right.
And it is a lot like a FIIO K17, but it's more affordable, significantly more affordable. And so let's talk about the differences. That's the easier way to go about this. So the FIIO K15's DAC uses dual AKM AK4497S DACs, which FIIO says is the world's first product equipped with the AKM AK4497S. The K17 uses the AKM AK4191 plus AK4499EX combo times 2. So the K17 has a higher level AKM DAC. Still, that's a wonderful DAC.
Yeah, it is.
In the K15. The K15, like the K17, uses fully balanced, discrete Class AB transistor current boosting headphone amplifier circuit, but the K15 outputs up to 3,000 milliwatts,
right?
Whereas the K17 outputs up to 4,000 milliwatts. I love the amplifier in the K17. I almost equally love the amp in the K15.
Yeah.
But the K17 has a little more drive. For my purposes, they're practically the same for most of the things I'm driving with it, but a wonderful amp just the same. The K15 has a 10-band PEQ. The K17 has a 31-band PEQ.
Yeah.
Both use the same 3.93-inch touchscreen, which I love. I love that screen. I love how easy it is to change options, control it. It's lovely, and both have the remote control, which you can also use to change all that. All right, let's talk about why you would buy. Oh, there is another difference I should mention. Power supply.
Oh, that's right.
I believe the K17 has an internal linear power supply.
Yes.
The K15, has a switch mode power supply.
But you can buy an optional linear power supply for it.
You can. There is an input. You can hook up an optional linear power supply.
Yes.
To the K15. So that's nice. But why would you get a K15?
Money. Yeah.
Exactly. Money. And so it is significantly more affordable. And if you can't spring for the K17, but you want one, K15.
Yeah, that sounds like the 718 to the K17's 911.
So okay, you were car guys, audio guys. I'm not so much. I drive a Honda Fit, but so yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Right. So the K17 is like the Porsche 911. K15 is like the 718.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. I would love to have either.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and I would love to have either of these.
Yes. We are currently holding a couple of little surprises. This is the FIIO QX13, and I want to talk about them because the FIIO QX13, they describe it as a professional high-performance USB dongle for cell phones. Now, they say the QX13 is primarily designed for audiophiles with sound quality as the top priority and emphasizes high performance and professional tuning capabilities. So, there is no Bluetooth, there is no battery inside of this. This is a wired dongle completely through and through. It's targeting cell phone use, but you can use it for computers. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Inside is an ES9027 Pro 8-channel DAC. It has a full carbon fiber or aluminum alloy chassis. You're holding the carbon fiber, I'm holding the aluminum alloy. And carbon fiber is often, hailed for its light weight. And it's funny that because this is actually 38 grams, that's 32 grams. There is a physical difference.
That's
there.
pretty neat.
I like that.
I'm just kind of smiling because I know that you let me hold this because I love carbon fiber.
You love carbon fiber.
I love carbon fiber.
It has a 1.99-inch color display. Just call it 2 inches. It has 2 gain settings accessible in the menu via the non-capacitive buttons. Now, these look like capacitive buttons. They're not. I thought this like, ooh, touch buttons, and they're actually real buttons, and I like the tactile feedback of that. It has inside 4 Texas Instruments high-precision op amps, and it can output up to 900 milliwatts. Now, it also supports FIIO's patented desktop mode. You'll notice on the side here, on yours as well, there's a little toggle. That goes into desktop mode. That works in both high and low gain, which is nice. It has an XMOS 16-core XU316 inside, and it has a 10-band high-precision parametric equalizer, but the best part is you don't need to use an app. You can access that with the buttons in the menu system physically on the unit.
Very cool.
It comes with a protective leatherette case, and FIIO has this optional accessory that they sell. I've seen it online. I haven't experienced it in person yet, but I'm probably going to pick it up to pair with this. It's called the E-Stick. It's an external battery. So if I'm on the go and I want to have this kind of power without running down my phone's battery, I might have to try that.
I might have to as well.
But the nice thing about this is it sounds phenomenal. Now, it's FIIO, so like FIIO engineering, as you'd expect, Even if you are in desktop mode in a high gain at max volume, there is no noise out of this from any of the IEMs I tried with it.
Fantastic.
Sounds fantastic with full-size headphones. Obviously, it's not going to drive the most demanding with only a max of 900 milliwatts, but it's going to drive pretty much anything you're on the go with.
Yeah, 900 milliwatts should be enough for like 90-some% of headphones.
It's going to drive a lot of headphones, and it does very, very well.
It does.
And because it's small and compact, it fits very easily in a bag. I have a little pouch that I carry around that normally has a dongle DAC. I've actually replaced my normal dongle DAC with this, and I've been carrying that one around for a little bit now.
If you can't fit this in your bag, Brian, you need to get a bigger bag.
I love my bag. It's a fantastic little piece. So the QX13, it's one of those things where you might possibly overlook it when you're, looking at FIIO's exhibit, because they have a lot of stuff on their tables.
Yes, FIIO's exhibit is insane.
It's tiny. Do not miss these because they are fantastic. That's a weird looking headphone.
I knew he was going to say so. It's obviously not a headphone, guys. It's a Bluetooth speaker, as you can tell. So it's a very small form factor Bluetooth speaker. It's the Snowsky Anywhere.
Yeah.
Snowsky is a sub-brand of FIIO. When this arrived, wasn't sure what to expect.
Yeah.
I should say it's like around $30, which I didn't know when I first heard it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first heard it, I will say this, completely exceeded my expectations for the form factor and size.
Yep.
When I saw the price, when we looked it up, I was completely shocked.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Let's talk about what it is again. It's obviously a very portable Bluetooth speaker.
Mm-hmm.
It has Bluetooth 5.4.
Which is actually pretty rare and something this affordable.
I found that very surprising, yes. Yeah. With just 2 hours of charging, you get 21 hours of battery life.
Yeah, that pretty much covers you for most events.
Yes, I agree. IPX6 water resistance, which covers you for just about any activity, because that's a lot of splash resistance and rain resistance. So that's nice too.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about it that way. Auracast wireless technology supports wireless stereo, so I'm guessing you could do a stereo pair with these.
Which is cool, yeah.
That is very cool. We only have the one, so I haven't been able to test that. But even the one, which I'll get to in a minute, sounded, I think, fantastic for what it is and for the price.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's a magnetic bottom.
Yeah.
Funny story about that. Before we shot this segment, we were looking for it. We couldn't find it anywhere. I forgot I'd stuck it to the side of our acoustic and vibration isolation chamber for headphone measurements because it's made of a metal that this will stick to. And that's where we found it. So took some looking. But it's nice that you can do that, actually, because it's convenient. Like if you're working on things, you can stick it anywhere that will stick with the magnet. All right. The sound quality.
Yes.
Took it to a party, family party, literally just yesterday. Wanted to see what everybody would think.
Yeah.
Put it up against a wall to get some reinforcement.
Yeah, that definitely helps a lot.
It did. And so everybody was loving this thing. And we only have, again, the one, so we didn't even do a stereo pair. And the tonality is richer than I'd expect for the form factor.
Yeah.
Again, given the size, you're not going to get deep bass.
Right.
Not going to surprise you. But it's a richer tonality for the size. Now, of course, it's not going to, power a giant party.
No.
But it did a family room, a reasonably sized family room, just to get some music in there very nicely. I imagine a stereo pair would be even more impressive. At CanJam, make sure to audition the Snowsky Anywhere. If you can do a stereo pair audition, do it. But don't turn it up too loud. It's a CanJam.
Yeah.
But do audition the Snowsky Anywhere. I totally dig these, and we need another one.
So on the table right now is the Goldenwave HIFIMAN GA10. It is a desktop tube amplifier, and the fact that tubes are involved explains why I really haven't seen this around the office, because you stole this pretty much the second it came in.
Yeah. Like I said a zillion times in other videos, I am a big tube amp enthusiast. I have been since I was... Well, since a kid. I mean, since as long as I've been an audiophile. Now, unlike some of the members of our community who seem to have limitless budgets for like the highest end tube amps, and I'm sure those guys are shopping very carefully for the best value for their high end buck.
Right.
I don't tend to shop in that range. It's not usually my budget range. So I'm looking for more affordable stuff, more reasonably priced stuff that performs at a really high level. The Goldenwave HIFIMAN GA10 absolutely fits the bill. We'll get to the sound signature in a second. Let's talk about what it is. Like you said, it's a desktop tube amp, obviously. Inside, 4 ECC83 or 12AX7 tubes and 4 6P14 or EL84 tubes. They call it a SEP architecture, SEPP architecture, which I believe stands for single-ended push-pull architecture.
I believe so.
Inputs, XLR and stereo RCA. Headphone outputs, 4-pin XLR and 4.4 millimeter, which is nice. And also, of course, 6.35 millimeter or quarter-inch. Power.
Yeah.
It's a tube amp. So high impedance headphone enthusiasts are going to be pretty happy because it outputs 3,000 milliwatts into 300 ohms.
Yep.
So rejoice, high impedance headphone fans. But still, even if you have a like a lower impedance headphone, 600 milliwatts and a 32 ohms. So it has juice.
Yeah.
I've been able to drive every one of the current HIFIMAN headphones with it without any issue at all. Beautifully driven. Like the Aria Unveiled is gorgeous through it. The Susvara Unveiled is gorgeous through it.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to use like a Susvara first generation, which is pretty power hungry,
Right.
You're going to get good sound out of it, but it's probably not going to be the beast you might be looking for. So just keep that in mind. But for all other, I also used it with the Meze Elite a lot.
Yeah.
Another beautiful pairing. Anyway, the headphone outputs impedance switch. There's an impedance switch on the front. It lets the user select the best impedance match. So 32 ohms or under 32 ohms, you'd use low. 32 ohms or over 32 ohms, you'd use high. That's what they're recommending, I believe. Shielded 120-watt transformer, audiophile grade components, given its HIFIMAN and Goldenwave. No big shocker there. I'm not going to break those parts down right now.
Yeah.
It's larger than we expected it, by the way.
Oh, a lot larger.
So in the pictures, which is what we'd seen first,
Yep.
I think because the volume knob is so huge,
Yeah.
we didn't realize that, so it makes the amp look smaller in photos. Nope, the volume knob is pretty huge.
It is.
And the amp is pretty largish, 16 pounds. Keep that in mind if you're shopping for your desk. Now let's talk about the sound signature. Here's in my notes, it says warm and transparent. It's still neutral, harmonically rich with crisp detail, solid bass extension. I love the sound of this amp. It is pretty much everything I want. Now, I'm not a tube roller.
Right.
So whatever the stock tubes are, work beautiful for me because I'm not really a tube roller anymore. I used to be. Whatever the stock tubes are going to be are probably what I'm going to be listening to, and I love the way it sounds with those tubes. I've already said what headphones I've used it with so far. Beautifully done. So if you're a tube audio enthusiast especially, make sure to audition the GA10 at CanJam. And if you're just curious about what a great tube amp sounds like for a reasonable price, make sure to audition the GA10. Now, as the founder of HeadFi, one might hope that I actually love headphone audio.
Sure.
And I do, as you know, love headphone audio. But even the most diehard headphone enthusiast, and I consider myself among them, has to admit that loudspeakers image better than headphones.
Right.
Headphones are great for inner detail. And,
Yeah.
But and they can image well, but loudspeakers image better. That is, take a recording, play it through a fantastic loudspeaker system. Take that same recording, play it through a fantastic headphone system. The loudspeaker will win in terms of imaging pretty much every time.
Right.
Why? Headphones introduce a bit of a problem, if you will. The right ear only hears the right channel, left ear only hears the left channel. With loudspeakers, your left ear still hears the right channel, albeit a little delayed. The right ear still hears the left channel, albeit a little delayed. Those tiny little delays, measured in milliseconds typically, because the human hearing system is so sensitive, the brain is such an incredible thing.
Right.
All those little differences mean a great deal. And I'm simplifying this grossly. That's the reason, effectively, that headphones don't sound as natural imaging. And the more exaggerated the stereo, the more exaggerated the left is to the left, the right is to the right, then the less natural it'll be with headphones. This is my very long-winded way of introducing this phenomenal piece of gear on the table. It's an Italian masterpiece. It's called the Audma Maestro HPA-1. It was invented by a gentleman named Cesare Mattoli. So he's a genius as far as I'm concerned because he's come closer to solving that problem than anybody I've come across yet. It's called ELISA, the technology inside the Maestro HPA-1. It stands for what does it stand for again? Oh, Electronic Loudspeaker Imaging Simulating Amplifier. It's simple to use. I don't even know exactly what all it's doing, but clearly the timing. There's a lot going on in there.
Oh yeah.
Because so many different solutions have come up to try to solve it, but yet nothing's done it as well as this that I've heard. All right. There's 3 knobs effectively. You turn one to turn it on or off. The second knob is called ELISA Stage. That adjusts the essentially the intensity of the effect. Then there's ELISA Angle, which adjusts the angle of the placement of the virtual speakers relative to the listener. Simply put, turn it more, it will widen the image. Turn it less, and it'll not widen it as much.
Yeah.
But in any case, no matter how I adjust it, essentially, I get a more natural image with so far with pretty much every stereo recording I've used through it. And the more exaggerated the stereo, the more I need it.
Right.
And I would love to have that in my system full time, but there are 2 little problems with it.
Sure.
Number one, it's expensive.
Yeah, I think it's $9,600 US.
$9,600 US. And then it's also bigger as a full rack size component,
Yeah.
then is ideal for my desk. That said, it's so good that I've gladly made the space on I pushed things off my desk to use it. It's that good.
Right.
And it's not just Eliza, by the way. At CanJam Dallas 2024 and CanJam SoCal 2024, this was a huge hit.
It was.
Because it was at both of those CanJams, and everybody was talking about. All the high-end guys were loving it. The guys from Water Cooler were loving it for it just as a headphone amplifier.
Yeah.
With or without Eliza.
Yeah, it's phenomenal as an amp.
Yes, and it's built to an extremely high standards internally. For example, audiophile-grade components, Nichicon electrolytic capacitors, WEMA Red Series audio capacitors, Alps Alpine motorized potentiometers, dual mono power supply, custom-built audio transformers inside that. It has VU meters.
Yes.
We love our VU meters.
We do.
There is a built-in DAC built around the AKM 4490 REQ DAC with AKM's Velvet Sound. Wonderful DAC for an internal included DAC. That said, I've been mostly using it with higher-end external DACs.
Right.
But it's nice to know that there's a DAC inside, and it's good. It is designed to drive any headphones over 6 ohms, dynamic headphones over 6 ohms. I used it with Susvara. Susvara Unveiled drives them beautifully. Used it with in-ears. Drives them beautifully. There are digital inputs. Like I said, there's a DAC, USB optical coax, analog input, stereo RCA balanced XLR, headphone outputs, 4-pin XLR, 6.35 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter balanced. Analog output, stereo RCA balanced XLR, because you can use it to pass through into your hi-fi system,
right?
Your loudspeaker system, and bypass the effects. Yeah, if you can't tell, and you know this already because you essentially live with me here at the office, I love this thing.
Right.
And I can understand completely why people were just going nuts about it at those 2 CanJams. It will be at CanJam again. And you absolutely cannot miss the Audma Maestro HPA1. I love this thing.
Audma will also be showing their upcoming Brioso PHP-A1 portable amplifier. Like the Maestro HPA1, it features Audma's Eliza technology, and they say it's been designed for all dynamic headphones with an impedance of 6 ohms and up. It has balanced and unbalanced inputs and outputs, and they say it delivers up to 1 watt RMS into 32 ohms. It won't be launching until later this year, but you can get a sneak peek at Audma's CanJam London exhibit.
Now here at HeadFi HQ, it's not surprising that we would have used dongle DACs when they first became a thing many years ago.
No, we started experimenting right away.
Yeah, right away. And that was a long time ago.
It was.
Now dongle DACs back then, there were some good ones.
Yeah, and some that were not so good.
Yeah, definitely some not so good ones.
Yep.
But the good ones were good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we fell out of the dongle DAC scene for years. We kind of lost our excitement with the dongle DACs, and then Questyle brought us roaring back into the dongle DAC scene when they gave us a Questyle M15.
Yep.
We hooked it up to our mobile phones, turned them into high-end DAPs. We plugged in our most sensitive in-ears, zero self noise, and an exceptional sound quality. We were thrilled. We were back in the dongle DAC game.
Yep.
So this is the Questyle M18i, and they're just doing it again. They're getting us excited about dongle DACs again. This will be at CanJam. And the M18i uses dual ES9219Q DACs, so good DACs inside. Supports up to 32384. Not surprisingly from Questyle, it has a very nice chassis. All their stuff has nice chassis.
Yeah, they have for years.
CNC anodized aluminum alloy. Also not surprising from Questyle, current mode amplification.
Yep.
4 sets of SIP modules. I believe that stands for System and Package Modules, using Questyle's current mode amplification. 4.4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter outputs. Built-in microphone. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Fully laminated OLED display. It tells you pretty much everything you need to know.
It's a nice clear display too.
It's actually a very nice clear display, yes.
Yeah.
3 modes with a switch that has 3 positions. PC mode allows for simultaneous charging and audio playback over USB.
Yeah, which is actually not something you'll find in every dongle DAC.
No, and another thing that's inherent in that very description is that it has a battery.
Yes.
So it has its own battery, something also not in every dongle DAC. So I love that you can charge it while listening in PC mode. Bluetooth mode, which is actually the mode I've been using most with it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Bluetooth 5.4.
Yeah.
AAC, SBC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX Adaptive, LDAC, LE Audio. I've been using LDAC with my Android phone. Phenomenal sound quality, and something I'm also very excited about. I've noticed this about a lot of later generation LDAC-enabled products. A pretty rock-solid connection.
Yeah.
In the earliest days of LDAC, it could be very touchy.
Yep.
Like, if I use it in this position, I get a good connection, And then with this one, it's rock-solid.
Yep.
I totally dig that. Mobile and phone mode. Does not draw power from the phone because, again, it has its own battery. Features noise reduction technology. Qualcomm's 8th generation clear voice capture. That's to do with the microphone.
Yeah.
So when you're using it with Bluetooth, with your phone, and a call comes in, or you want to make a call. You don't have to take off your high-end IEM or headphone, whatever you're using with it, because of the microphone. And it's actually a very nice microphone.
Yeah, it is.
And it works really well.
Yeah.
So
I can't tell you how many times I've been listening to music and a call comes in. If the microphone on the device I'm using is not good, I'm not going to use it.
yeah,
It has a clear, wonderful microphone.
it actually does. It is usable, and it's only $399.
Yeah.
So as dongle DACs go, it's a beautiful performer. I want to talk about the sound quality very quickly because I've used it with, again, very sensitive IEMs, my most sensitive IEMs, you know, the kind that I'll put 90 dB at 4 millivolts, right? And no self-noise. I've used it with several high-end over-ear headphones.
Yeah.
And just beautiful tonality. This is a wonderful dongle DAC. The Questyle M18i is definitely something you don't want to miss at CanJam.
The dongle DAC market is vibrant. It's exciting, becoming increasingly crowded, admittedly.
It is.
And it's getting harder, I think, to differentiate your dongle DAC from another company's dongle DAC. And one way you can do it, I guess, is form factor. You can come up with an innovative form factor. So what do you do for that? Well, ddHiFi is like, innovative form factor? Here, hold my beer. I'm going to show you our TC44 grip.
Yep.
This is the ddHiFi TC44 grip. I think this is a really groovy form factor. So what it is a dongle DAC with a captive cable. And they're trying to solve two main pain points. One, they say difficulty in unifying the cable direction and earphones plug orientation.
Right.
So the cable is routed through the DAC body. So it would go like this. And then that would go, that's a double 90-degree USB-C connector so that it hugs the bottom of your phone super tight. And then what you do is you stick it to your phone with this. There's an adhesive that goes on your phone or case and then that magnetically attaches. And that is the second pain point that they're addressing with that. Difficulty in keeping the device organized and lack of portability. Magnetic attachment to phone via adhesive pads. And that double right angle USB-C connector, again, gets it really tight up against the bottom of your phone.
It does.
The magnetic attachment keeps it nice and tight against the back of your phone. And every dongle DAC is intended to essentially turn your phone into a digital audio player. But to do so even better in terms of form factor, like this, is in fact quite clever.
Right.
So I dig it. So all of this, though, would be for naught if it wasn't a good dongle DAC, and it is. Let's talk about what's inside. It uses dual Cirrus Logic CS43198s for the DACs. It'll decode PCM 32768 and native DSD 256, and it'll output up to 80 milliwatts into 32 ohms from the single-ended output, and up to 330 milliwatts into 32 ohms from the balanced outputs. So there's some drive for a little dongle DAC. And it has a USB charging interface. Can you say more about that? You know more about how that one works.
Yeah, you were using this primarily with your phone. I was using this actually with my tablets because those have USB-C, and I really appreciated this because it has 60-watt pass-through charging. It supports power delivery 3.1 for fast charging as well. So when I was listening to, I like to use my iPad Pro as like a portable laptop, but it doesn't have a headphone output. You plug this in there, and I can still plug USB-C in and continue to charge the iPad Pro while I'm listening.
Oh, so that is very cool.
Yes.
Actually, that's a use case I can totally get with.
Yep.
As a road warrior type of guy. But so yes, this is so innovative. Now, the only reason we haven't stuck it to our phones, because we both wanted to see what it was like.
Yep.
Permanently attached, but we only have one here.
Exactly.
And we wanted to share it. And I trust you, Brian, a lot, but I wouldn't trust you to keep my phone for a weekend.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust you either. I would do something to you.
Probably. But anyway, so that's why we haven't stuck to our phones yet. But what an innovative piece. This is, again, the ddHiFi TC44 grip. Make sure to check that out at CanJam. Now, ddHiFi also has another dongle DAC with a pretty unique form factor. Not quite as unique as the grip, but still unique nonetheless.
Right.
And it's called the ddHiFi TC44 Pro M3, also known as the Mountain 3.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. It's a little mountainous up top.
A bit of a stretch for me.
Yeah.
But I guess I see where you guys are coming from. All right. We're going to get to the unique form factor in a second. Let's talk about what's inside. The TC44 Pro M3. You know what? I'm going to call it Mountain 3. It's shorter. The Mountain 3 has dual Cirrus Logic CS43198 DACs. It'll decode up to 32384 PCM and DSD 256. It'll output up to 90 milliwatts into 32 ohms from its single-ended output and up to 120 milliwatts into 32 ohms from its balanced output. So that's a pretty decent drive. It has 4.4 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter outputs, a textured housing, lossless decoding indicator light, and included lanyard, which is nice.
Yeah.
And the unique form factor part is the fact that it doesn't have a cable, whether captive or separate.
Right.
It just plugs directly in. But also unique about that is the right angle connections. So the 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter outputs are on the side. And so what's nice is it will be a tighter sort of setup.
Yeah, more low profile.
Right, with your phone. So I think that's actually quite nice. Now, something to note. If you have a case like I use relatively unreasonable, very armored cases.
Yes.
Because I do drop my phone a lot. For those with like really restrictive openings by the USB-C port, this may not fit it.
Right.
But for people with more reasonable cases like you, with more open bottoms, this will fit no problem. And that right angle connection is very nice.
Yes.
Now, for those of you who are looking maybe not for something as unique as the grip, maybe even not as unique as the Mountain 3, ddHiFi does have another DAC. And why don't you talk about that one?
Yeah, so this is the ddHiFi TC44 Pro E3. Now, the E3 shares a lot of similarities with the M3. I'll get to those in a minute, but you'll notice it's a more conventional dongle DAC system. So it has the dongle DAC with a detachable USB-C cable. I'll get more on that cable in a second here, but starting with the similarities, it has the same DAC circuit as the M3. So you've got the CS43198 with 3284 DSD256. This has a lot more drive. So this has 175 milliwatts into 32 ohms via the single ended outputs, and up to 510 milliwatts into 32 ohms via the balanced outputs. It also has the same 4.4, 3.5 millimeter setup there, so that's not different. But I mentioned those interchangeable cables. So in the box, you're going to get a straight USB-C to USB-C cable, but you can also pick up an optional USB-C to right angle or right angle to right angle USB-C cable. So depending on what you're wanting to do, if you're just wanting for the standard setup, that's going to be $105.99. But if you spend a little bit more, $109.99, you get one of the other two cables. So single right angle or dual right angle gives you a little more flexibility whether you want to have a setup where you're running the device, either attached to the back of a phone, like a lot of people are doing with, straps and magnets, or if you wanted to have just something sitting off to the side, like I do with a computer.
Yeah, for those who don't want, again, something as unique as the grip, or even not as unique as the M3 or the Mountain 3, I do think that the E3 is definitely... I also like, by the way, that we didn't mention it has gain setting.
Oh, and yeah, just a little button.
One button gain setting change, which is also very nice. But some people are just looking for a more conventional dongle DAC, and that would be it. This is the ddHiFi PC150 Pro audiophile power cable. It's $120 with a catch. So you might be looking at going, that's a very nice looking power cable for $120. It is. But the catch is it's a DIY audiophile power cable.
Right.
Now, it is designed for the beginner DIYer. And so I looked at the instructions. It looks like something even I might be able to assemble. You don't think so?
No.
Okay, so maybe you or one of our other friends might have told ddHiFi that I cannot solder my way out of a wet paper bag because they did send it assembled. But again, all kidding aside, I did look at the instructions. They do look pretty straightforward.
It does, yes.
All right. So the PC150 Pro uses 6N OCC for power. That's 6 nines, Ono continuous cast copper for power. And then OFC for ground. That's oxygen-free copper for ground. It uses PVC plus PET mesh sleeve, which is actually very nice and durable feeling. Pre-molded connection points. It's available in US, EU, and UK standards. It's 150 centimeters long. And according to ddHiFi, the Pro offers a noticeable improvement in sound quality compared to the standard version of the PC150 with a more pronounced perception of mid and high frequencies. We do not have, nor have we ever used the original PC150.
Right.
But I am very happy that we do have an assembled PC150 Pro here at the office now. And at CanJam, if you're a DIYer especially, maybe even if you're not, but you're interested in maybe trying a simple DIY project, make sure to check out the PC150 Pro. Now, as you well know, and now you're going to know, on the table is one of my most prized audio possessions.
Yep.
That's the ZMFheadphones Aegis tube amplifier. And that is, it's as pure a tube amplifier as they come, essentially. There's no silicon in the circuit.
Right.
So as they describe it, it's an old school tube amplifier design featuring Lundahl transformers and chokes. Now, I picked it up for the sound, but there is another aspect to this that adds charm to what it is. And that's the fact that it was designed by a HeadFi DIY community member who goes by Lord Gwyn. Not on his birth certificate. His real name is Keenan McKnight. And Keenan has become somewhat of a celebrity in my head because whenever I listen to the Aegis, this guy designed one of my favorite amps, which I think is very cool.
Yeah.
And he's a HeadFi community member. That's really neat. So let's talk about what it is. It's a single-ended tube amplifier. It's built around, as I mentioned, DIY plans from Lord Gwyn. It's a tube roller's dream. I'm not much of a tube roller anymore. I used to be when I was younger. Maybe I should try experimenting again. So for the rectifier tube, you have 5-volt 2-amp types. GZ34, 5AR4, 5V4, GZ32, 5R4, 274B. So there are a lot of rolling options there. For the input tubes, pair of 6SL7s, and they have to be 6SL7s, but there's still rolling options. You can try any number of different 6SL7s.
Right.
On the output tubes, pair of power pentodes, 6V6, 6L6, EL34, EL37, KT66, KT77, KT88, 6550. As I'm rattling all that off, I'm thinking I really should try tube rolling again. Zach was kind enough to include some bonus tubes when we ordered it, and I definitely need to roll more. Again, it's a tube rectified design. There are high and low output impedance toggles, so it gives you more flexibility with different kinds of headphones, and I would suggest using it mostly, if not entirely, with over-ear headphones.
Right.
I guess if you have some less sensitive in-ears, you can venture it. I don't turn to the Aegis for in-ears. I use it strictly for over-ear headphones. So let's talk about why I love it so much. Because it's a tube amp and sounds the part. And I've said this a million times before in different preview videos, but a great tube amp, which I consider the Aegis to be, can give a more realistic presentation, harmonic richness, solid, meaty sonic image objects within a holographic soundstage. For these things, I find them to sound more transparent in a way, or more resolving than a lot of my favorite solid-state amps. And I know that from a traditional measured standpoint, it's not going to measure as transparently as state-of-the-art solid-state amps.
Right.
But from what I hear, I mean, it sounds more resolving and more real because it gets me closer to the music. I feel like there's less between me and the music.
Yeah.
And the performance. And so, I mean, by my definition, that sounds more resolving. So, the Aegis at CanJam is something you must audition. If you're a tube amp enthusiast already, then it's a no-brainer if you haven't already heard it. And even if you're not, I think the Aegis is the type of amp that could convert a lot of people who haven't previously really adopted or engaged in tube amp goodness.
Yeah.
So, and at CanJam, when you audition it, know that you will be listening to one of my most prized audio possessions.
One more new announcement from ZMFheadphones. They'll be unveiling a new colorway for the ZMF Aegis at CanJam London 2025, and I'm excited to see what they've changed. Be sure to ask about the new look when you audition the ZMFheadphones Aegis. Electromod will be your destination to check out the latest amplifiers from Eletech, like the new V101 and the V324, and they'll also have some of the hottest new releases from Topping. Here are some of our thoughts on the new Topping Centaurus and the Topping DX5 Mark II. So Jude, on the table right now is something I didn't think we would ever see. So it's a Topping stack, and at the top is Topping's fantastic A70 Pro headphone amplifier. We love that amp.
We do.
Beneath it is the Topping Centaurus. Now, the reason why I don't think we would ever expect to see this is because this is a collaboration piece, and it's a collaboration piece with Hollow Audio. So anybody out there that's an R2R aficionado, or if you've seen the name Hollow Audio, you know what this represents. This is a very fantastic DAC. I'm going to dive into it right now. So inside is a fully balanced 8-channel R2R DAC with 8 resistor array networks. 4 of those are dedicated circuits to DSD, and 4 of those are dedicated circuits for PCM, which I think is a great way of doing it.
I do too.
It has 3 selectable modes, so you have oversampling, non-oversampling, and best. And the way Topping describes best, they say best automatically selects the optimal sampling rate based on the source's sample rate and the DAC's internal processing capabilities. It has a preamp mode, so you can use it with active monitors, or if you have a stereo system you want to run into, you can do that as well. Has a beautiful 2-inch full-color touchscreen on the front with 3 capacitive buttons, and it does feature their Aurora UI, so it has 9 selectable background colors. You can swap between an FFT display, VU meters, or playback information, and I like that flexibility. I do love VU meters so much.
I noticed that you chose it for the amp.
I did.
Yeah. And it looks real.
It really does.
It actually looks like a physical view.
It has nice depth to it, even though it's a display. It has a 10-band parametric EQ and Bluetooth 5.1 support. As far as codecs, you're going to get SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX Adaptive, and LDAC. So you get pretty much the full gamut for the most part.
That.
Inputs and outputs, it has pretty much everything you could possibly want in a DAC, especially a compact one like this.
Including I2S.
Including I2S. And when you pair it with the Topping A70 Pro, I think this might be the recommended pairing
It
for
is.
this. It is? Okay.
Yeah.
I love this combination.
I do too.
Like, I need to spend a lot more time with this because here at the office, we've been listening to it with a number of headphones, a number of different test tracks, and my gosh, it just kind of takes your breath away at times.
It's a fantastic system.
It is.
So, like you already mentioned and emphasized, the hollow audio thing
Yeah.
is a significant thing.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of RDAC enthusiasts in our community, and this will give them a taste of why hollow audio is hollow audio and why they have such a reputation.
Yeah.
I think this is a fantastic sounding system. For those of you not familiar with Topping, I think most of you are familiar with Topping.
Right.
But in case you're not, they're known for making reasonably priced gear
Mm-hmm.
that just objectively performs like incredibly well. That is, their measured performance is usually impeccable.
Yeah. And speaking of price, hollow audio gear is never cheap because, you get what you pay for with
Right.
hollow. This is just about $1,000 for the DAC.
Right.
Very affordable as far as R2R high-end DACs go.
Yeah, this is hollow audio I can afford.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So you did the product notes for the video. Brian did the product notes for the video for the Topping DX5 II.
Yeah.
How many times before we started shooting this did I ask you to verify the price?
Oh, several.
Because I didn't believe him. I didn't believe what he had down. $299.
Yep.
Honestly, the Topping DX5 II is going to be the best value just about anything that you're going to find at CanJam.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm selling my soul to be able to get that for $299. Anyway, let's talk about what it is. The Topping DX5 II is a balanced desktop DAC and headphone amplifier. On the DAC side, it has dual ESS 9039 Q2M DAC chips that supports PCM up to 32768 and native DSD 512.
Mhm.
Supports MQA decoding, so it's a nice DAC.
Right.
But that amp,
Yes.
the amp section, balanced headphone amplifier, outputs up to 7,600 milliwatts per channel at 16 ohms. And even into a high impedance of like 300 ohms, I think it's still outputting up to almost a watt.
Right.
It's a beast of a headphone amp, and it's also refined.
Yes.
I'll talk more about that in a second. 2-inch full-color screen with Topping's Aurora user interface with 9 selectable themes. I'm very partial to VU meters when available, and I love the physical-looking VU meter.
Yeah.
Bluetooth 5.1 supports SBC, AAC, aptX HD, aptX Adaptive, and LDAC. This is very important to me and to you, so I'm glad it has all that. I like the antenna in the back, too. 10-band high-precision parametric equalizer via Topping's desktop software available on all inputs. Inputs include USB, coax, optical, and Bluetooth. Outputs, single-ended RCA, balanced 3-pin XLR, 6.35 millimeter, 4.4 millimeter, and 4-pin XLR. Super versatile.
Oh, very.
Like crazy versatile.
Yeah, when this was first announced, I believe it was at HIEM Munich 2025, the impressions that were coming out of that show, there was a real buzz about this, and having been able to spend time with it, it's very easy to see
Oh my gosh,
why.
so easy to understand.
Yeah.
So the headphone amp is so versatile. I was driving, I tried the Sysvara Unveiled.
Yep.
The HIFIMAN Sysvara Unveiled. Drove it easily,
Yeah.
as you can imagine,
Not surprised.
given the specs I just rattled off. But the refinement is wonderful. So I tried a reasonably sensitive IEM, and I went with the 64 Audio Velour to start. Still one of my favorite IEMs. Plugged it in, low gain mode, not high gain mode, and ran a digital track with all bits set to 0 because I didn't want it to mute. I wanted to make sure that I'm hearing the amp, that it wasn't muting. And it was dead quiet. And what I also love about that, even with a sensitive IEM, there's so much volume control at the bottom even, where you can get a lot of range and precise control even with a sensitive IEM.
Yeah.
Then, of course, you can crank it up and get the drive and high gain for harder to drive headphones. What a value.
Yeah.
And it sounds great. It's, frankly, at $299, it's a masterpiece at that price. So at CanJam, I don't care what headphone or IEM you have, plug it in to the Topping DX5 II and just tell them I'll take one. Now, on the table in front of us is a desktop system that I'd say is quite cute.
You can call it that.
Yeah, pun fully intended, because the component on the top, the smaller one, is the Chord Electronics Cutest.
Right.
It's a small form factor desktop DAC. Now, a lot of headfires might already be familiar with the Cutest. It's been out for a while. And it is essentially, as I see it anyway, the desktop version of the Chord Electronics Hugo 2.
I see it the same way, but it's a lot less expensive than the Hugo 2.
It is, in fact, a lot less expensive. You know, the Hugo 2, to this day, all these years later, remains my reference portable DAC amp.
Right.
Love it. So I love the Cutest too. So let's talk about it. Like the Hugo 2, the Cutest has 49,152 taps, a 10-element pulse array design. It decodes PCM up to 32768 and DSD 512. Selectable output levels, 1 volt, 2 volt, and 3 volt, and 4 selectable filters. If you love Chord Electronics DACs, you're going to love the Cutest. And if you have a Hugo 2, or if you've heard it and you love it, but you don't need the portability, get the Chord Electronics DAC sound with the Cutest and save some money, because it's $1,625, which is a lot less expensive than a Hugo 2.
Right.
It is the Cutest, part of the Hugo range. It uses precision machined aluminum housing, polycarbonate buttons, glass viewing portal. So, like other Chord Electronics pieces, beautifully built.
Yep.
But it's a lot less expensive than that Hugo 2. So if you don't need that again, the Cutest. Now, that's not really what I want to talk most about today, though.
Right.
At CanJam, make sure to audition it. But what I really want to talk about is what's underneath it, which is the bigger component underneath, which is still very compact, and it's the Chord Electronics Alto. And the Alto, as Chord describes it, is a meticulously designed headphone and near-field monitor amplifier, because it drives not just headphones, but speakers.
Yeah.
Because it's for professional audio use. I love that they're making a studio piece now.
Right.
Headfires actually are increasingly using a lot of gear made for studios.
There's a good amount of overlap because a lot of studios use higher impedance headphones, and a lot of headfires listen to higher impedance headphones. So even though this is designed for the pro world, headfires are going to like it, I think.
Yeah, we'll get to the headphone versatility in a minute.
Yep.
So the Chord Electronics Alto uses Chord's Ultima technology, which is fully balanced and employs dual feed-forward error correction. As far as inputs go, it has XLR and RCA inputs. As far as output goes, I mean, we're going to get to the headphone ones in a second, but it has loudspeaker outputs, like we mentioned earlier. It'll drive 25 watts into 8 ohms and 50 watts into 4 ohms, so it has some juice for that.
It does.
On the headphone side, it has some juice as well. It also has flexibility with a 3.5 millimeter output, 4.4 millimeter output, and two 6.35 millimeter outputs. I do believe that makes it the first Chord Electronics piece that I can recall with a 4.4 millimeter output.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think I am too, and I'm just very happy to see that.
Yeah.
It's about time. So it will output up to 2,250 milliwatts into 100 ohms, so it has some juice there too.
It does.
Now, I've tried it with higher impedance headphones. Drives them beautifully. It's a very punchy, resolving headphone amp. Tried it with lower impedance headphones, or lower than 100, like Sony MDR M1, Sony MDR MV1, their open monitor. I believe those are both lower impedance than 100, and drove those beautifully as well. Now, I wouldn't make it my first choice at all for like ultra-sensitive IEMs,
Right.
because that's not also a very typical pro audio use case. But for those headfires who aren't typically using IEMs very much and are using mostly headphones, the punchy resolving sound of that Alto, I think, is going to go over big. So make sure to audition that at CanJam. It's $4,320, so it's premium priced.
It is.
Headphone amp, but it performs like one. Beautiful piece.
Before we move on, there are a few more exhibits showing audio electronics at CanJam London that you won't want to miss. Ferrum Audio will be exhibiting their full family of DACs, amps, and power supplies, including their new Ferrum Wandela HP. Heidi's will have their lineup of digital audio players like the AP80, and Mascobo will have their incredible Model 465 and Model 475 available to audition. CanJam London's seminar lineup is going to be incredible this year, and you won't want to miss any of these technical talks and in-depth presentations. Each of these seminars will take place directly above the main CanJam exhibit area in the Plaza 12 and 13 suites. Seating is limited and the best seats always go quickly, so be sure to get there a little early to secure the perfect spot. Our Saturday seminar schedule kicks off on July 19th at 11 a.m. when Aishwarya Bide, market analyst for Future Source Consulting, presents The Sound Ladder, Why Consumers Keep Climbing from Basic to Premium. Headphones have quietly become the most powerful personal tech category, cutting across age, class, and continent, from Generation Z flaunting audio identity to middle-class boomers craving high-fidelity comfort. Premium headphones are the new sweet spot. With tech breakthroughs, brand stacking, and cultural shifts, this session unpacks why headphones are thriving when everything else is slowing down, and why brands that get audio right are owning the future. Next up, come join Rob Watts, digital design consultant for Chord Electronics, for a presentation titled From a Little Spark May Burst a Flame, starting at 12 p.m. Though Dante couldn't possibly have had audiophiles in mind in his journey through heaven, his words are fittingly apropos just the same, and especially so in the case of Rob Watts. Join Rob for a personal and heartfelt recounting of the pivotal moments that led him to a lifelong pursuit of audio excellence as he shares all that he's learned along the way. You might be surprised to discover how much his journey mirrors your own as we all continue our search for insight into this very human side of music appreciation and high-fidelity audio. Wrapping up our Saturday seminars at 2 p.m., legendary headphone designer Axel Grell, formerly with Sennheiser and today the founder and CEO of Grell Audio, Axel will be giving a talk titled, "Just a Target Curve to Describe the Sound of Headphones? Does that make sense?" In the history of headphone development, there have been different performance targets. Invented for telephony, initial targets focused on transmitting speech with good intelligibility. In the 1960s and 70s, headphones were increasingly used for listening to music, shifting focus to a straight frequency response on measurement couplers. In the 80s, free field and diffuse field equalizations battled, with diffuse field equalization prevailing. And in 2013, the Harman target curve became the most accepted target curve. Today, to reflect a greater emphasis on fidelity, Grell Audio questions the concept of having only the target curve to describe the sound of headphones. Further parameters are proposed and described in order to be able to measure and provide a more precise impression of the individually perceived sound specifications. On Sunday, July 20th, join Tal Kosin, Daconia Audio's co-founder and COO, for From Tinfoil to Digital, Tracing the Evolution of Sound Recording at 11 a.m. Thomas Edison invented the phonograph in 1877, marking the first device capable of recording and playing back sound. However, there's more to that incredible story than you might think, and other players involved you may not realize were a part. This period laid the groundwork for modern audio technology, transforming how sound can be preserved, reproduced, and ultimately shared with the world. Join Tal while he describes early recording techniques and demonstrates the use of an original vintage standard Edison phonograph from the early 1900s. And finally, our CanJam London seminars come to a close on Sunday at noon, when Rob Watts once again takes to the stage for a talk titled Digital Demystified. With streaming increasingly taking center stage as the de facto way to consume music for many of us, digital audio performance is more important than ever. Join Rob for a comprehensive survey of the various digital to analog conversion topologies available to us. Learn all about Delta Sigma, R2R, 1-bit, and other conversion methods, including Chord's FPGA technology, to gain the firm foundation necessary to finding the optimal solution for your needs. Don't be mystified by digital any longer. Again, each of these seminars are taking place in the Plaza 12 and 13 suites located on the lower lobby level, which is one floor above the main CanJam exhibit area. Be sure to get there early to grab a seat.
We've been to a lot of CanJams.
Sure.
We've talked before about that rare occurrence where we go to a CanJam, we see a company we've never even heard of, sit down, listen to their stuff, and get blown away.
Right. Yep.
Positively.
Yeah.
Happened to me at CanJam Hong Kong 2025 with this. This is the Hercules Audio Moses. I'd never even heard of Hercules Audio before CanJam Hong Kong 2025.
Yep.
So, of course, I'd never heard of the Moses.
Well, I think that launched there at that show.
Oh, did it?
I think so.
Okay, so there must have been some hullabaloo in the Hong Kong community before the show because there was a line to listen to them. And so I waited in line to listen to them. Anyway, let's talk about what they are. It's a 9-driver tribrid IEM. On each side, 1 dynamic for bass, 4 balanced armatures for mid to highs, 4 electrostatic drivers, the ESTs, for ultra highs. And they're beautifully implemented, by the way.
They definitely are.
The sound signature to my ears is on the richer side of my preference, but I love them. And I like a richer tonality than you do in general.
Yep.
But even you, when you heard them, you were very impressed, and especially at low listening levels, which is something I noticed too at the show. So I still remember what you said to me because you were like, because you and I both listen quiet at lower volume levels. And when I listen at lower volume levels with this, and I noticed this at CanJam Hong Kong 2025, you still feel like you're getting the full everything.
Yeah, I agree.
From the music.
Yeah.
It's probably an equal loudness contour thing and how they're tuned.
Maybe, yeah.
Now you turn it up, and then the richness really comes in, probably a little bit more than your preference.
Yeah, a little more.
But you still enjoyed them?
Yeah.
Okay, they image beautifully.
Yes, they do.
All right, so for me, they're still within my preference range, but on the richer side of my preference range. I will say this, they're so good that if you're looking for a richer toned IEM, these are probably going to be among my reference, if not my reference, richer toned IEM right now.
Yeah.
That's how much I love these. let's talk very quickly. I just want to go through these notes about how they're packaged because they're beautifully built.
Yes, they are.
The machining on the chassis is gorgeous.
It is. Yep.
That was actually the first thing I noticed about them before I put them in my ears. I was like, all right, they're $4,200. So I should mention they're $4,200, so they're expensive.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, I'd never heard of you, but you're charging $4,200 for IEMs, man. I was very skeptical. But when I saw how they were built, I was somewhat encouraged because they are meticulously crafted.
Yes.
So the CNC machining that goes into these is insane. Just the whole chassis, but then that grill on the faceplate, that tiny little grill, that detail, that's all CNC machined. And then just the rest of the chassis, the titanium chassis, we both love titanium. And then the cable is beautiful.
Yeah.
They're actually the Scepter headphone cable. That's actually an aftermarket cable sold separately if you want to get them separately. It's a 22 gauge 5N Ono continuous cast pure silver cable. All right, with the fixtures on it, beautifully machined again. When I heard this, I decided this is probably going to score very well with MDAX.
Oh, I bet.
So that's Head Acoustics multi-dimensional audio quality score metric. It's kind of a virtual panel, if you will. I ran it through MDAX. I think it has the best overall score that we've seen from an IEM so far.
Really?
Yeah. So mean opinion score overall, let's start with its overall score, 4.9 out of 5.
Dang nice.
We've seen that before, but when you look at the individual metrics, I think this score is higher. So mean opinion score timbre, 4.9 out of 5. So timbre includes frequency response, spectral flux, and other things. Mean opinion score immersiveness, 4.6 out of 5. Among the highest we've seen. Mean opinion score distortion, 4.4 out of 5. Again, very high.
It's all high, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, overall score, 4.9 out of 5. I am not surprised.
Yeah.
The Hercules Audio Moses, again, for me, I think is going to be one of my references, if not my reference, for richer sounding IEMs and a CanJam. If that's the kind of sound signature you look for, even if you don't, and especially if you listen at lower listening levels,
right,
you must hear the Hercules Audio Moses. So it's obvious I love the Hercules Audio Moses.
Oh, yeah.
But again, it is a flagship priced IEM. This one's not.
Yeah.
So this is the Hercules Audio Noah. This was a huge hit at CanJam Shanghai.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either. So the Noah, and this is the most recent prototype of it, is intended to be an affordable alternative to the Moses. If you can't spring for the Moses, at $380 to $400, that's the target price.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yes, this is intended to give you a Moses-like experience. And I'm going to say this. The Moses, when I hear this, doesn't sound like just an inspiration for the Noah, but the target curve.
Yeah.
This sounds more like it than it should at $380 to $400.
Right.
Insane. So let's talk about what it is. The Noah is a 4-driver hybrid design. On each side, one 9mm solid silicone dynamic driver, 2 nulls balanced armatures for mids, 1 nulls balanced armature for highs, and a 3-way crossover design. It has an all-metal aluminum alloy housing. I'm going to talk about that housing in just a second. And then it comes with this Hercules Audio Noah cable called the Arc.
Yeah, Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark. So it's a 22-gauge design, the cable. 4-wire design, silver-plated copper alloy conductors, silver-plated foil-wrapped copper alloy with oil immersed treatment, and Pentacon ear connection. And again, $380 to $400 for the Noah.
Yeah.
So that housing. All right. So at CanJam Shanghai, going into the preview video that we did for CanJam Shanghai, we both really loved that prototype that we had, but it was in a 3D printed resin shell.
Right.
Then I heard this at CanJam Shanghai, and it sounded even better. And so I asked Benjamin at Hercules Audio, I said, what did you change? Because this new prototype's even better than that first one that I heard. And he said, well, nothing but the shell.
That's it?
That's it. He said it's the same drivers, same crossover, but in a closer to production shell. So again, instead of a 3D printed resin housing, now it is in the alloy housing, and it's just better and more refined, even closer to the Moses than that other prototype we had was, which again, at $380, $400, it just shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But it is, and I'm glad for it. Frankly, if they're able to hit that price, which I think they will, I think it's going to be one of the biggest IEM hits of the year in the high-end IEM market. And at CanJam London, I think it's going to have lines.
Oh, yeah. Technics will be joining us at CanJam London, and they're also one of our CanJam London 2025 event sponsors, so thank you, Technics, for helping make CanJam London possible this year. Now, while you're no doubt already familiar with the Technics family, there's a new model that has captured my interest quite soundly. It's called the Technics EAH AZ100. And why has it enthralled me so, you might ask? Several reasons. First, it has crazy battery life with a 10-hour runtime and an additional 28 hours waiting in reserve thanks to its charging case. Second, it's reported to have an active noise cancellation system that can go toe-to-toe with the latest offering from Sony and Bose. As a current Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra owner, I need to put these two head-to-head for daily use. Then there's the spatial audio for Dolby Atmos and Dolby head tracking, multi-point connectivity, an IPX4 water resistance rating, voice focus AI, and more. I'm practically kicking myself for having not heard the Technics EAH AZ100 yet, and you'll be able to audition it too at CanJam London 2025.
This is the Eletech and Canpur Mona Lisa.
Yeah, that's quite the collaboration
This is
team.
quite the collaboration team. This is a limited edition collaboration. We'll talk more about like how many are available. Not many. But I want to first start with the faceplate, which I don't usually do, but the faceplate is so dang cool.
Yeah, it's striking.
Yeah, so this faceplate design, knowing that it's called the Mona Lisa, you'd immediately see the Mona Lisa.
Oh, yeah.
But if you didn't know it was called the Mona Lisa, you might not immediately see the Mona Lisa. I
Right.
showed it to my son without telling him the name, said, "What do you see?" He said, "An alien?" And then he pulls it away and he says, "Is that the Mona Lisa?" And that's I love the design because up close, it just looks like a bunch of horizontal lines with some bumps and curves here and there.
Right.
Genius. Anyways, let's talk about what the Mona Lisa is. So the Eletech and Canpur Mona Lisa is a 10-driver quad-brid IEM. On each side, dual Sonian bone conduction drivers, 5 Sonian balanced armature drivers, dual Sonian ESTs, electrostatic tweeters, and a single Canpur custom-encased planar tweeter.
Right.
This interests me. I'm curious about that planar tweeter. And that's all in a 6-way crossover design. The stock cable, as you can imagine, is Eletech.
I would hope so.
I would hope so too. So it's a 22-gauge cable, multi-size stranded geometry with dual-type high-purity OCC copper. That's Ono continuous cast copper. How many are they making? It's limited to 150 units globally.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to go quick.
Oh, no doubt.
To me, this is an outstanding IEM. I love the Mona Lisa IEM. So let's talk about impressions. Why don't you start?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're listening to the same IEM. I don't think our descriptions are off necessarily, but they're different because of our preferences. So please start.
Yeah. So when I first heard this, right upon listening to it, I immediately got a very comfortable, very warming, welcoming sound. And to me, it was relaxing. So I attribute it as a relaxed sound, but there's a nice level of detail in the upper end and mid-range, bringing through a lot of clarity and resolution. And I find the low end is emphasized, but it's not emphasized a ton. It's nice, tastefully done. This is, to me, easy listening. I can pop this in and just go listening for hours nonstop.
I can listen to it for hours as well. And this is where I think that we're not necessarily hearing it differently. It's just that relative to our preferences, we're describing it differently.
Right.
Is kind of how I'm thinking, this is what we're doing. For me, I think starting on the low end, I think there's some bass emphasis, like you said. But it's very tastefully done, and it's actually level-wise, like right where I like it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's almost not emphasized. But I do recognize that my tastes kind of make me feel that way. The mids are very clean.
Yes, they are.
Bell clear
Yeah.
mids. Very resolving, reference class mid-range to my ears. Now, on the relaxed description that you give, this is where I don't really hear it like that.
Sure.
To me, I even though I can listen to it for hours, I don't find the tonal balance like relaxed. I find it to be like the treble is quite detailed, sparkly, and airy.
Yeah.
And so for me, like I'm getting a lot of resolution out of these, which I think you are as well. But I'm hearing it as like a highly resolving IEM. To me, it's a reference class IEM. Like this for me is going to be the Mona Lisa from Eletech and Canpur is going to be one of my references, unquestionably. I think it's going to be immensely popular, at least with 150 units available.
Right.
All will go. So at CanJam, you'll want to audition them, and you'll want to come to a decision if you like them pretty quickly.
Yep.
Otherwise, they will be gone. So the Mona Lisa, if you want to hear what is now going to be one of my reference IEMs, make sure to listen to the Eletech and Canpur Mona Lisa at CanJam. Now, you mentioned the Eletech Baroque ear tips. I can safely say at this point, they are my favorite ear tips for IEMs now. And I want to tell a quick story before I explain why. So I go to Tokyo somewhat regularly, and when I go, it's become a custom, as you well know, that I buy a lot of ear tips.
Right.
And there was one trip I went on where I bought so many ear tips that they filled 2 small shopping carts, like literally filled them, because it was all different manufacturers, all different types. And the clerk literally asked me, he said, are those both for you? I said, yes. And he said, are you sure you want all of them? And I said, yeah, no, I'm sure I want all of them. But here's the thing. On my most recent trip to Tokyo, just happened, I bought no ear tips. I think that's the first time in I don't know how many years
Yeah.
that I went to Tokyo, came back with no new ear tips. Why? Because of the Baroques. They solve my problem, my fit problems most of the time. It's not just problems. They're just the tips I use most of the time. They're made of a Japanese medical grade silicone. They're super duper supple.
Yes.
They have beautiful structure. The design is genius because they have structure, even though they're like, the silicone almost feels paper thin.
Right.
And yet, as paper thin and supple as it is, I've never torn a pair. So I've yet to tear a pair. And I can't say that about every ear tip. As you know, there are some ear tips that we just, when we frequently change them, tear apart the insides.
Yeah.
But these, I have yet to destroy a pair. So the Eletech Baroques to me, and they sound great with just about every IEM I try them with. And oh, by the way, they're not the kind that you just push, I don't want to get this stuck in here. Anyways, that you push that super deep. They're, you just kind of get them into your ear and you'll feel when you get the seal, and that's where you'll usually settle, at least in my ears. So the Eletech Baroques at CanJam, you want to audition your IEMs with them. I don't care which IEMs you're using, at least try them. And I have a feeling you will probably, like me, end up settling on Baroques and buying way fewer ear tips than you may be doing now. Eletech will be showing new versions of their Baroque ear tips, and they're called the Eletech Baroque Stage. I'm very excited about this. I just said their original Baroques were essentially my reference IEM tips since their release.
Right.
The ones I use most of the time. And the Baroque Stage is now offering a variation, a firmer variation. So the original Baroques were super supple, super thin, which is part of their charm. They deformed very easily and formed a barely there seal. Super comfortable. But some people wanted a firmer compound, which I can understand. And that's where the Baroque Stage comes in. So it has a firmer, still supple, still silicone, but a firmer compound. And so it's designed to offer a more expansive soundstage. That's one of the goals of it.
Yeah.
Versus the original Baroque. It's a little taller than the original Baroque. Maybe that's part of that.
Could be.
Now, in direct comparisons, I can hear that. So if you favor soundstage over a lot of things, then that's something to keep in mind. Now, I will say, because of the firmer compound, they can offer just the traditional small, medium, and large sizes. Because the original Baroque deformed so easily and, in everybody's ears was a little different, they offered more sizes because some of us had to size up, for example, and you had to have more sizes to have that custom fit. So I'm usually a medium with most ear tips, but I'm a medium large in original Baroques. With these, it's only available in small, medium, and large, and I don't have to size up. I'm a medium in these. So that's fantastic. Now, if they look familiar, the Baroque Stage did come standard on the Forte Ears Mephisto IEMs. So you might have already tried them if you tried the Mephisto.
Yeah.
And the Eletech and Canpur Mona Lisa collaboration IEM. So if you tried that, like at CanJam Shanghai 2025, then you had a chance to try the Baroque Stages. But now you don't have to buy those IEMs, although they're a great way to get the Baroque Stages. You can buy the Baroque Stages separately, and they'll be at CanJam. Make sure to audition both the original Baroques and these Baroque Stage ear tips. So something else Eletech is becoming known for, their high-end audio accessories.
Right.
Executed at such a high level, stuff just for head fires. Now, Brian and I are both leather goods enthusiasts, and we nerd out about leather goods too. So we even talk about the tanneries, the specific tanneries that make specific leathers of stuff that we have.
Yeah.
And I have those same conversations, as do you, with Eletech.
Yeah.
They're into that stuff too. In fact, they've contacted me before and said, we're going to be making something that you're going to love out of a Merriam horse butt, right? And that's, Merriam's an Italian tannery. Actually, that's that IEM case there. I believe that is a Merriam horse butt.
Yep.
And you can't get it anymore, unfortunately. It was a very limited release. And I'll explain why I'm telling you about it anyway. You'll get it in a second. So the other case that we have here it's a larger case. It's called the Lux Companion case, also sold out.
Right.
It's made of Zonta museum calf leather. Zonta is another Italian tannery. And museum calf leather is like a hand-burnished calf skin.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. It has a modular interior. It came with 4 IEM pouches and 5 leather keeper straps. All right. So why am I telling you about it if you can't get them? Because they're regularly releasing these limited edition runs of accessories.
Yeah.
Executed again at such a high level. We've unfortunately missed some that we wanted.
Yeah, I missed a moss green Lux case sometime back, and I still kick myself for that.
Yeah, and you didn't even wait that long. They just went away so quickly.
Yeah.
I ordered the kudu. I didn't miss those. I should have them here. The kudu, which is an antelope.
Yeah, the cavalry cases.
Yeah, that's what they're called. Yeah, the cavalry cases. IEM cases. I got 2 of them. And so I ordered those the moment they came out.
Mhm.
So at CanJam, stop by Eletech's exhibit
Right.
and be as surprised as I am sometimes when they have something I hadn't seen before that's probably a limited edition. Their accessories are just executed at such a high level. Absolutely beautiful.
So, Jude, I'm going to give credit where it's due. This is the Noble Audio Focus Amadeus, and they just keep getting better and better with their true wireless IEMs. This thing's fantastic.
They do. And I'll give them credit where credit's due as well, because they have been pushing with true wireless for some time now.
Yeah.
And they seem extremely serious about the category.
Yeah, they are, and it shows with the Focus Amadeus.
I agree.
Now, this is a single dynamic driver true wireless IEM. Inside of it is an 8.2 millimeter driver with a custom triple layered diaphragm. The exterior, it is a glossy black housing with a striking red faceplate. I love how this looks. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
It is beautiful. That's not a surprising thing, though. Noble has been known really since their beginnings for making beautiful IEMs.
Yeah, they do have a long history of that. It has Qualcomm's QCC3091 chipset, which brings Bluetooth 5.4, multi-point pairing, which I love because you can swap between devices very easily, and it supports pretty much all your standard codecs like SBC, AAC, aptX Adaptive, and LDAC, which is great because if you're pairing that with a DAP or a smartphone, it gives you a lot of flexibility.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, very nice to have. Now, this is one of the things that surprised me the most. Battery life. When you're listening to this with ANC disabled, it does have ANC. You get 12 hours of listening time, up to 12 hours, which I think is nuts, especially in a IEM of this size. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's longer than anything else I can think of.
Yeah.
For like a single listening session.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you get 8 hours if you have ANC enabled. That's still massively
Yeah,
long.
that's still longer than anything we're used to in true wireless.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you pair it with the charging case, you get up to a grand total of 42 hours with the recharges. Now, it also features a 10-minute quick charge, which will get you 2 hours of listening. The faceplates that I mentioned before, they are also touch controls, so you get things like, pause, play, track, skip forward and backwards, enable transparency mode, that kind of thing. And it also has transparency mode, like I just mentioned, which is nice to see because if I'm out and about with a true wireless IEM, I'm typically doing it when I'm moving around, and I sometimes need to be able to monitor the world around me for, shopping or just avoiding traffic.
You were just wearing them shopping.
Yeah, I was. Fantastic. And I do like how their transparency mode is also getting better and better in every single time they release it. It just sounds very, very nice here. It has dual microphones, which is great for conversations because it does feature Qualcomm's clear voice capture. Basically, if you're not familiar, what that's going to do for you is it's going to reject some of the outside noise and focus on the voice of the person who's speaking, the person wearing these. Very nice to have, especially because intelligibility is a big critical thing when you're out and about and you just get a call.
Yeah, it's super important for me because I'm on the phone a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to personalize it even more, when you use the Noble Audio Focus app, it also supports Audio's personalized sound. So you pair it with the app, you can do a couple tests, and then you personalize it the way you want to hear it. Now, this is $320, which actually is not even the most expensive Noble Audio True Wireless. However, I think this is my favorite sounding of every one I've heard so far.
I think so too. Now, how would you describe the sound signature? I want to see if I agree.
So I would describe this as audiophile fun for me. I get some low-end emphasis, but the thing that I find really interesting is even in the treble, I'm getting a lot of treble detail without feeling like it's being pushed forward. And I just think it's a really nice, comfortable sound. And I do love that low-end emphasis for me when I'm out and about because that's when I want to have a little more low-end reinforcement because it'll help, first of all, obscure some of the world that's going on around me, but also just bring me more into the music when I'm in the hustle and bustle.
Okay, so I will say that I agree pretty much with everything you've said.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is very audiophile.
Yeah.
But like you said, fun as well.
Yeah.
The emphasis on bass is mild to my ears.
Yeah, it's not too much.
Yeah, but I do love its signature. It's a very balanced signature, especially for true wireless. So I love the way these sound. I quite enjoy them. I have a feeling we either need another pair or we're going to have to take a lot of turns using this one.
Yeah, and I imagine everybody's going to be lining up to hear these at CanJam because you pretty much have to.
I was very excited when I found out about these. It's the Noble Audio Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Because it's a $699 IEM from Noble Audio.
Mm-hmm.
So I was glad to finally hear them. Glad we got them. They will be at CanJam. Make sure to audition them. Let's talk about what they are. So this is a hand-finished universal IEM that was inspired by Van Gogh's painting Starry Night.
And quite clearly.
Quite clearly. If I showed these to you and said they were inspired by a painting but didn't tell you which one, you'd absolutely guess Starry Night. Now, this is a 4-driver hybrid IEM.
Mm-hmm.
So on each side, there's 1 dynamic driver and 3 balanced armature drivers. More specifically, It's one 8mm dynamic driver with magnesium aluminum diaphragm and dual magnetic circuit.
Right.
2 Sonyan E-Series balanced armature drivers for smooth articulate mids, they say. 1 Knowles RAD Series balanced armature driver for extended controlled ultra highs. Now, it does come with actually quite a lovely cable.
Yes.
The only information I have on it, it's a 2-pin connector, and it's an 8-core OCC copper, that's Ono continuous cast copper, with 4.4mm balanced plug. And again, it's a hand-finished shell. I want to say a little bit more about that shell because each faceplate is hand-finished in a swirling custom pattern that, of course, echoes Starry Night. No 2 units are alike.
Yes.
And it says the low-profile resin shell is sculpted for a natural fit, offering long-wearing comfort and excellent passive isolation for on-the-go or studio use. I actually wanted to mention that specifically because they are low-profile. If you can see, I have small hands, and you can see these are small shells.
Oh, yes.
So they really had a compact layout inside and gave you a very nice low-profile shell. I like that.
Yes.
Because I can actually, for example, lay down with them, which I dig. So they say it's tuned for contrast-rich, emotionally engaging sound. And then it says the Van Gogh is built for impact. Noble's engineers have created a sound signature that prioritizes boldness and texture, deep lows, layered mids, and a clean, airy top end that delivers energy without fatigue. Here are my notes. And I was kind of riffing off what I was reading after I heard them. I said the Van Gogh has a U-shaped sound signature, big bass, sparkly treble. Somehow, despite its richness down low, Noble has sculpted the tonal balance in a way that still allows the mids to breathe. I find Noble's description of the mids as layered and apt description. I really enjoy these.
Yeah.
But they're bassy, so there is bass emphasis unquestionably.
Yes.
And a nice treble sparkle, but again, the mids are allowed to breathe somehow through all that, and it's actually a lovely sound signature, and I like what they say, tuned for a contrast-rich, emotionally engaging sound. I agree. $699, a beautiful Noble IEM. These will be at CanJam. Make sure to audition them. So this is a Campfire Audio IEM. We'll say the name in a second. But I'm looking at the product notes here in our show notes. And it says from Ken Ball, from Campfire Audio, with this model, I have focused on a modified Harman curve tuning. I mean, how can that not grab one's attention straight away? We'll discuss shortly whether or not I agree with that. But let's talk about what it's called.
Yeah.
This is the Campfire Audio Alien Brain.
Yeah, speaking of grabbing attention.
Yeah.
So the aesthetics of this, it definitely looks like an alien brain, and I have a cool little story. I was at CanJam New York 2025 talking to Ken Ball at the Campfire Audio exhibit, and he let me know that the alien brain, well, for all their IEMs, they have a code name in the studio before it goes to production. And this one, when they were coming up to naming in the production version, they thought, why don't we just call it the code name? And I think it's a fantastic name.
I think so too. I can't say it though without smiling.
Yeah.
So because it does kind of look like an alien brain.
A lot.
It's actually a really cool looking piece.
Is.
All right. So let's talk about what it is. The Alien Brain is a dynamic balanced armature hybrid featuring a new 5-driver internal architecture. Dual magnet dynamic driver updated with an all-new full-range 10mm glass PU driver. So that's glass-PU. That's dedicated lower frequency driver. Specifically, it has a glass speaker dome and a polyurethane diaphragm.
Yep.
So that's interesting.
Very unusual.
Yeah. 2 high-quality mid-frequency dedicated balanced armature drivers and 2 high-frequency balanced armatures. So again, a 5-driver hybrid. It's housed in a sleek black PVD full CNC stainless steel shell, designed to look good, of course, but also for durability and resonance control. The faceplate uses a new iridescent dome lid that they describe as playful and striking.
Yeah, it is.
And then they named it a striking, playful name, Alien Brain. Alien Brain's updated accessory bundle features Campfire's new high-quality USB-C DAC dongle with support for up to 32,384.
Yep.
And again, Ken said with this model, I've focused on a modified Harman curve tuning. Here's my notes. First of all, I agree.
Yep.
It sounds definitely Harmonish. I describe it as neutral with a slight vocal forwardness. The bass is impactful. Give it some music with low bass, and the foundation is solid. It's like a safe tuning, which I consider like a good Harman tuning, kind of a safe tuning, something a lot of people like.
Right.
This is one of those. This is one of the, I would say this is one of the more neutral Campfire IEMs that I've heard in some time.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy these. So the Alien Brain is fun to look at, fun to talk about, fun to say, and it's a wonderful IEM to listen to. So this is one you want to definitely hear at CanJam. Now, this is the Campfire Audio Axion. Now, I want to clarify something very quickly because there was another model from Campfire Audio called the Axion. It was called the Axion Multiverse 3 First Run Edition. It was a limited edition, and it's sold out. Now, this is now just simply the Campfire Audio Axion. It's a new model. I believe it's supposed to be an ongoing model, and it's only $249.
Yeah.
They've been knocking it out of the park lately with their IEMs, and this is just a wonderful affordable entry into Campfire Audio's IEM world, which I think is fantastic. So this is a single driver IEM, one full range silicone dynamic driver per side. And again, it's an all new design, all new tuning.
Yeah.
It has a USB-C terminated cable, which I think is very cool. On that cable, built-in DAC, supports up to 32384. It has an inline mic with 3 button controls. This is very handy. We all have smartphones these days.
Yeah.
If you have one with USB-C, you carry your Axion around in your pocket. You have a portable rig in your pocket, plug it into your phone, and you've got a setup. I think that's fantastic. Here's what they say about it. We set out to provide a high-performance, accessible entry into the world of high-fidelity portable audio. Axion checks all boxes when it comes to true hi-fi on the go, incredible sonic performance, plug-and-play usability, lightweight, and comfortable. It is all those things. It also has MMCX connectors on the earpiece side, so if you have a straight, like a straight plug MMCX cable, it will work with this. You can get those from Campfire Audio too, I'm sure, so you can plug it into your DAP. But even with the USB-C termination that it comes with, you can plug that in your computer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very cool. So as far as the sound signature goes, I would describe this as a richer tonality with sparkle. So it has like a mid-rich tonality with nice bass impact and also a nice treble sparkle.
Right.
It's a nice Campfire Audio IEM signature. Again, it's only $249. I do love that USB-C cable because it is something I'm just going to carry in my pocket or in my bag. So do not miss the Campfire Audio Axion at CanJam.
At CanJam SoCal 2024, there were a lot of product launches. And among the few standouts was unquestionably this. This is the Campfire Audio Clara.
Yes.
This IEM was developed, of course, by Campfire Audio, but with musician Alessandro Cortini. And it coincided with the launch of an album of his called Nati Infiniti. Wonderful album, by the way. But you might know him more from his work with Nine Inch Nails. He's a core member of Nine Inch Nails, a multi-instrumentalist with Nine Inch Nails. And I'm a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. I was actually at their first album's tour. The Detroit stop opened up by Meat Beat Manifesto. And that was years before Alessandro joined the band. Anyway, big Nine Inch Nails fan. So they developed this, and Alessandro was so excited about having people hear this for the first time because he was very happy with the results. So I wanted to hear it for sure at the show. Now, Ken Ball from Campfire Audio had this to say about it. He said, "This model is, in my opinion, the best hybrid we have ever made, but I'll let Alessandro talk about the sound and voicing when that time comes since he guided me on its development. We are doing an initial small run of the clear blue 3D printed hand lacquered shell with stainless steel matte black PVD lid, MMCX ring, and tip parts." That's the one you're holding.
Yep.
The clear blue shell is ongoing, while we will also offer a limited run of 50 sets of it and a 3D printed titanium alloy solid monolithic shell, which is what I'm holding.
Right.
I love titanium everything, and so I had to get one of the pairs of the 50.
Yep.
And so I ordered these right when I found out about them. Well, after I heard them.
Yeah.
And this pair's mine. So let's talk about what it is. Ken said it's a hybrid. It uses a 10 millimeter biocellulose dual neomagnet dynamic driver, Knowles dual diaphragm mid-BA, and Knowles dual high-frequency tweeter. It uses the TAEC resonator on the high driver, that's tuned acoustic expansion chamber, and tuned mid-acoustic front acoustic bore.
Right.
Now, in terms of how it sounds, I would say first of all, the first thing I noticed about it was the imaging.
Yeah.
It images quite wide, and it's a lovely, coherent wide image. That was literally the first thing I noticed about it when I started one of my test tracks. And, of course, it doesn't image out of head. You need DSP pretty much to get it out of your head. But as IEMs go, it's a nice, wide, coherent image. I love the way everything's staged. In terms of tonal balance, I would call it on the rich side of my neutral range for sure.
Yeah.
Love the bass emphasis. Very tastefully applied, very impactful. The mids are bell clear.
They are.
And I love that about them as well. And the highs are detailed, but never bright for me. So... yeah, I love these. Now, for you, the bass is probably a little on the heavier side of your range.
It is.
You tend to like things that are bass tuned, perceived flat sound, and these have some emphasis, which I prefer. That's more. So these were squarely in my tonal wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So with that imaging, just a beautiful sounding pair. And the moment I heard them, I ordered the titanium pair, which I'm so happy to have. So at any CanJam you go to where they have a Clara, listen to it because I think it is the best sounding IEM that Campfire Audio has yet made.
So this is the Campfire Audio Astrolith.
Yeah.
This is actually a pretty unique IEM. As driver configuration goes,
Definitely.
it's a dual planar magnetic IEM. I'll talk more about that in a second. So I remember talking to Ken Ball from Campfire Audio a while before they released the Astrolith.
Yeah.
He was so excited about this one. I think if you were to ask him, he'd probably say this is probably among the very best IEMs they've made so far. I can see why he's so excited about it. So let's talk about it. Again, it's a dual planar magnetic IEM, which is quite unusual. It uses a 14 millimeter driver plus something called AAOI for the lows through mids. AAOI stands for Additive Acoustic Optical Inclusion Housing. These chambers are carefully engineered to create precisely controlled acoustic volumes and ensure the targeted vision for Astrolith's sonic performance.
Right.
It also uses a 6 millimeter driver plus PPR for the highs. PPR stands for Particle Phase Resonator. Campfire's PPR smooths and tempers the 6 millimeter driver while still allowing it to shine and do what it does best, create lightning-fast transients, resolution, and top-end detail. And that it definitely has.
It does that.
So it's, as far as the chassis goes, it's a 3D printed acrylic body with a mirror-finished stainless steel faceplate. Actually, it's a lovely looking piece.
It definitely is.
All right, so now let's talk about the sound. So when they released the Astrolith, Campfire Audio also released a measurement. Now the thing is, I don't know what measurement fixture they used for that measurement, but that measurement, at least to me, doesn't look like what I'm hearing.
Right.
For whatever that's worth. And I haven't measured it yet, so I don't know what my measurement will look like and if it'll look like what I'm hearing. But it doesn't sound to me like their measurement looks. The tonal balance of the Astrolith, to me, it's on the rich side for sure. I mean, would you agree with that?
I do.
Smooth sounding overall, but it has this like a sparkle to it, a sparkly detail to it that, I mean, I'm guessing that's the 6 millimeter driver. And I really love that combination.
Yeah.
Because it's like a non-fatiguing overall signature, and it's super easy to listen to, but that sparkly detail is a lovely thing with it.
Yeah, there's no edge to it. It doesn't really pierce or anything like that,
Right.
but it is sparkly.
I agree. So that I dig. So that said, for this type of tonal balance, there's a surprising amount of detail coming through, but yet it's, again, easy to listen to. So for me, I can understand why Ken Ball was so excited about the Astrolith. I do love that they're doing something different with this dual planar magnetic design.
Yeah.
And the Astrolith is a can't miss IEM. You really like those, don't you?
Yeah,
I
I do.
know, I can tell.
So this is the Letshuoer Mystic 8. It's the first IEM in their Mist line. Now, the Mystic 8 is an 8-driver IEM. They're all balanced armature drivers. 4 of those balanced armature drivers come from Sonyan. 4 of them come from Knowles. So I just find that kind of interesting.
I do too, actually.
Yeah.
For an all-BA design to use 4 from Sony and 4 from Knowles.
Yeah, it's fun. So inside, it has a 3-way crossover design with 4-way acoustic tubes, and all of that is housed within a CNC'd titanium alloy chassis. Now, they say that this chassis has a vapor black finish. I love the color they went with, and it has a phantom cat design. It's a really cool look.
I think so too, actually.
Yeah, I think it's really neat. I love especially the fact that I don't like high gloss piano black. It's kind of in between matte and glossy black, so it's nice where they settled, and the multi-layered faceplate is beautiful.
Yes.
So it also comes with an 8-strand, 20-core, single silver-plated monocrystalline copper cable that's terminated with 2-pin and 4.4 millimeter. And another interesting thing that they throw in the box is a custom ring and necklace. Now, Letshuoer kind of seems to have a history of throwing in cool little accessories, little trinkets, because with the, the S12 Anniversary, 2024 Anniversary Edition, they had that cool little spinning 8 Anniversary logo.
Yeah, which we were kind of using as a fidget toy.
Yeah. I like that.
I do too.
So you get the ring and the necklace in this as well.
Actually, the necklace is kind of cool.
It is kind of neat.
Yeah.
I also want to say what's really neat is the sound. So the sound on this is phenomenal. This is one of those IEMs that I can pop into any player, start listening to my music library, and I'm pretty much never going to need to make any adjustments to the sound signature. It has a lovely low end. Mids sound phenomenal on this. It's a very airy sound, and it has a lot of detail and clarity through kind of the mids and the upper register. Overall, this is one of those things I popped into my ears. I was surprised. And when you think about it, it's basically right around $1,000 US. And I can't fault it in any way. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's a little under 1,000. I'm going to do a little Brian translation on the bass. So I think the bass has nice extension.
Yes.
You find it to be, for your taste, probably, I think when we were talking earlier, mildly emphasized.
Mild, yeah.
Yeah, translated for most people, that means no emphasis. I find that to be actually perceived flat type bass.
Yeah.
Nice extension. I agree with you on the rest of it, though.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I'm teasing, but Brian and I have different tastes. I think we've said it a million times, in bass especially. But I find it to be perceived flat, but I agree with you on everything you said about the rest of it, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're at CanJam and you have the chance to audition the Mystic 8, you have to do it. So this is the Letshuoer DX1. It's a single dynamic driver IEM from Letshuoer, and they're doing some really interesting things with this. So first of all, it's an 11 millimeter aluminum magnesium alloy nanoparticle coated driver, which I think is interesting. Something else interesting about this driver, it was designed completely in-house from the ground up by Letshuoer. Now, one of the things they've done with that driver, they've incorporated what they call a diamond pattern topology onto the driver. I can't think of anything in the IEM world that's similar, and they've incorporated that diamond out on the outside as well aesthetically because they have this faceplate here. It has a champagne gold diamond pattern faceplate surround, which I think is quite beautiful. It catches light very well. It's very striking in the ear.
Agree.
And that's mated with a electroplated stainless steel shell with a high gloss finish. The IEM itself has a 30 ohm impedance, and it's paired with a 256 core silver plated monocrystalline copper cable. It is terminated on the ear side in 2-pin, and you can select between 3.5 millimeter or 4.4 millimeter.
Which I think most people will go for the 4.4.
Yeah, I think 4.4 is pretty much going to win out most of the time. It also comes with a nice included carrying case, which we have down here on the table. I think it's really cool because a lot of those metal-on-metal cases can be difficult to open. This just pops right open, and because it's rubber, you get a nice seal as well, so you get some water resistance on top of that. Here's the crazy part, though. It's only $159. Now, why is that crazy? Well, when I was listening to this, the IEM that came to mind immediately was actually much more expensive. It's the Letshuoer Mystic 8, which comes in just under $1,000. So that should tell you something. I'm listening to a $160 IEM thinking of about a $1,000 IEM. That's a pretty good gap right there. Yeah. I think part of that might be due to the fact that they've incorporated into this piece a 5 kilohertz notch filter, and they say that reduces excess energy and resonances around 5 kilohertz to minimize distortion. I didn't notice any distortion while I was listening. Now, Letshuoer describes this as a relaxed and dynamic sound experience, and I'm going to agree mostly. So definitely on the dynamic sound side, it has a low end that I consider emphasized and forward, but it's not going to be one of those ones that steals the show, punches you in the face. It's a fun signature on the low end for me. Now, for the mids and the highs, I actually find these more of a neutral sound signature and the emphasis on the low end. So on the upper end, they do call it relaxed, but I wouldn't call this laid back. There's still a really nice amount of detail and air in the treble. And I think overall, everything is nicely incorporated all the way throughout the sound signature. To me, it's not relaxed. It's just wonderful, comfortable listening. You can call it relaxed if you want, I guess. But again, I keep comparing it to this, $1,000 IEM in my head. Now, if you've listened to the Mystic 8, say you want less treble detail, you don't want as much resolution in your signature, you want something more comfortable, or you want a little more low end, or you simply want a less empty wallet. This is a fantastic place to start at CanJam because it's $160. The Letshuoer DX1 has to be heard.
Yeah, they always offer such strong value.
Oh, they definitely do. We're currently holding a couple of IEMs from an IEM manufacturer called BQEYZ. Now, this is a name that I've seen regularly on the forums, both in discussion threads and reviews, but until now, I've not had the opportunity to hear any of their models.
Yeah, same here. This is my first experience with them.
Yeah, and it's a good first experience. Now, you are currently holding the BQEYZ Angel Ears Winter Ultra. Now, the Winter Ultra is a collaboration piece with Angel Ears, and it's a flagship dual driver hybrid. Inside is one 12mm dynamic driver focusing on the low and mid frequencies, and one 11.6mm PZT bone conduction driver. Surprisingly, that's focusing on the mid and highs. I can't think of any other IEMs with a bone conduction driver where it's specifically focusing on the mid and high range.
I can't think of an identical configuration.
No, it's very, very interesting.
Right.
And it sounds cool too, but we'll get back to that in a second. The chassis is a CNC machine chassis, and it's a beautiful, I love this color, gorgeous striking blue. Absolutely stunning. It comes with a 1.2 meter cable. That cable is a single crystal copper-plated silver cable with swappable plugs. You get 3.5 millimeter and 4.4 millimeter in the box. We're currently running that with the 3.5 millimeter on it. It has 3 tip offerings in the box as well. You get atmosphere, reference, and balanced, and they call these tips different names because they change the tonality. Now, I gravitated towards one of these And anybody listening right now probably thinks, oh, reference or balanced. Yeah, that's Brian. Well, actually, believe it or not, for that piece, I ended up gravitating towards the atmosphere tips. I found that had the best click for me with the sound signature. And again, I'll come back to that in a moment here.
And they change the sound rather dramatically.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But they're paired with the Lin dongle. And I want to mention this real quick because the Lin ear adapter, it's only $16, but it's a CX31993 DAC inside. It has a single crystal copper silver cabling. It's 5.5 centimeters in length, and it's USB-C. It comes in available options of 3.5 millimeter or 4.4 millimeter. And for these two IEMs, I listen to both of them exclusively through that DAC. Now, when I come back to the Winter Ultra, for me personally, I found that it had a laid-back vocal range and very smooth treble, but it was still comfortable to listen to, especially when I listened with the atmosphere tips. I just thought that kind of clicked very, very well, and it has decent bass extension. And when we think about the price, you're looking at $279 US. You're not going to break the bank. I think that's an excellent first audition for somebody who's getting into the BQEYZ brand. However, for me, this was the better piece. This is the BQEYZ Frost. Now, the Frost is a dual driver hybrid with one 10mm dynamic driver and one microplanar driver. It has a CNC aluminum alloy chassis, which I think is a beautiful chassis, and it's paired with a lovely glass faceplate that has this ice crystal pattern on it. Now, one of the cool things I love about this is depending on how it catches the light, it looks blue or it looks black, and it's a really quick change, and I love how they kind of change the aesthetic. It does make it feel frosted. It's pretty cool. It also has a 1.2 meter cable. It also has a single crystal copper, silver plated mixed coaxial cable. Now this only has a fixed plug, but you can choose between 3.5 millimeter or 4.4 millimeter. We have the 4.4 millimeter version here.
Most people would choose 4.4 these days.
That's my assumption. It also comes with 3 tips, but instead of a balanced tip, this comes with atmosphere, reference, and a memory foam tip instead. Now, again, paired with the BQEYZ Lindac, I found this, first of all, was less picky than the Fit, so I found it quicker to get the seal on this, but I found that it had a more organic sound. It has a more balanced sounding signature compared to the Winter Ultra, and for me, for my preferences, when you pair it with that reference tip, which is what I gravitated towards, this was the one I would go for, and believe it or not, it's actually less expensive. This is only $179. So if you want something more kind of fun and engaging, that's probably going to be your pick. Go with the Winter Ultra. But if you're like me and you like that more reference, more linear, more detail-focused signatures, the Frost is the one to check out. And I think at CanJam, if you're like me and this is going to be your first introduction to BQEYZ, it's the perfect time to try it.
So this is the FIIO FX17. Before I get into the FIIO FX17, just before we started shooting this, Brian and I were talking about FIIO, the company,
right,
and how they've entered so many audio product categories.
Yeah, they have.
And whenever they get into a product category, they don't just dip their toes in the water.
No, they're the kind of company to dive head first.
Head first. They get so serious about every category they're in.
Yep.
I think IEMs that's definitely one of the categories that they've just really pushed.
Oh, yeah.
The last couple of years, they've gotten very serious. So like the FA19, we both love that IEM.
Yeah.
And they also have different kind of subcategories within that category, which is, hybrid, tribrid, all BA, all dynamic. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, this is a tribrid. This is a 13-driver tribrid, the FIIO FX17. One lithium magnesium alloy dynamic driver.
Mm-hmm.
Lithium magnesium alloy.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
I'm not familiar with this material, but I am intrigued. I would like to see what this material is about. 4 custom Knowles mid-range BA drivers, 8 Sonian EST drivers for ultra-clear high frequencies, 5-way frequency split, S-Turbo patented acoustic filter structure designed for optimal sound clarity, pure titanium metal housing that they use 5-axis CNC machining to make.
Yep, nicely machined.
Yeah, beautifully machined. Ergonomically designed with custom-like fit. It
Right.
does remind me of a custom IEM,
Yeah,
but it is universal fit, to be clear. Stock cable, gold, silver, and copper hybrid with 3 replaceable plugs, 3.5 millimeter, 4.4 millimeter, and TC connectors for versatility.
Mhm.
That's another way they've gotten serious about their IEMs. I feel like the cables on their IEMs have gotten nicer and nicer,
Right.
and they're like premium aftermarket cables now in
Yeah.
terms of the look, feel, and performance. So I love that they do that, and I think adds value to their products. And FIIO is known for strong value already.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about how the FX17 sounds. So we both love the FIIO FA19,
Mhm.
which is an all BA design
Right.
for its neutrality. This is not a neutral IEM.
Yeah.
This is a rich, romantic sounding IEM, probably more up my alley than yours.
It is. Yep.
But as rich sounding IEMs go,
Yeah, it's nicely implemented.
I think they're lovely.
Yeah.
So I think they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that rich tonality isn't just in the bass. It's not like just bass emphasis. There's some mid-band emphasis as well.
Right.
But I don't find them to be slow sounding. I think part of that is, number one, the control of the drivers and the resolution of the drivers, but also that there's some treble sparkle.
There is, and I like that.
Yeah, I do too. With
Yeah.
a richer tonality, I like that. And in image as well. I was talking to an IEM engineer recently because I've noticed that I feel like IEMs generally are starting to image better,
Right.
more commonly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked, is that like by design or is it a happy accident? He said, no, at least we engineer them. I can't remember which company that was. And he was saying, no, we engineer them, with imaging in mind, that we work on that. So I'm guessing this was a deliberate thing with the FIIO FX17 too.
Yeah.
So for those shopping for IEMs at CanJam, this is an exciting entry. If what I described sound signature-wise is something you'd be interested in, make sure to give the FIIO FX17 a listen at CanJam. Visioneers introduced a line of IEMs, a family of IEMs that I find quite exciting.
Yeah.
It's 5 models, and they call it the Visioneers Custom Line.
Yeah.
And the name might suggest that they're all custom-fit IEMs, and they sort of are.
Yeah, you can get customs.
That's correct. But they're also available as universal versions with custom design.
Yeah, and I think that's very cool.
I think that is very cool. And so we'll start with the first model because there are 5 models.
Yeah.
The first one's the VE1. It's the most affordable one at $1,050. And that's a 2-driver hybrid IEM. On each side, there's one bass mids driver, and it's a dynamic driver. And then there's one highs driver that's a balanced armature driver. And Visioneer says of the VE1, it's designed for those looking for a well-balanced yet powerful listening experience. Now, my listening notes say the 1 has a U-shaped sound, with the bass being prominent in the mix and the upper mids and treble being energetic, lively. I heard the 1 before I knew what drivers it has and was surprised that the mid and treble energy were coming from one mid-high balanced armature driver because there's so much going on. I really didn't know when I heard it what the driver complement was, and was surprised to find it only had 2. But for $1,050 for a Visioneers IEM in either custom or universal, that's exciting. Now, the next model is the VE Pro, and that's $1,650. And the VE Pro is a 4-driver hybrid. So on each side, one bass driver that's dynamic, one bass and mids driver that's balanced armature, one mids and highs driver that's a balanced armature, and one highs driver, also balanced armature. Now, VE says of the VE Pro, designed for those who seek a more refined and articulate listening experience. This model introduces a carefully tuned balance between power and precision. My listening notes were quite short on this one. It says, the Pro has a very nice balance and perhaps is the most neutral of the 4 models we tested relative to my preferences.
Mm-hmm. And people right about now can probably guess which one I gravitated towards.
Yeah, that's the one you, I think, preferred the most, right? Because you definitely favor neutrality.
Yeah.
And I think you agreed with me on that one. So the VE Pro, another wonderful model to check out in the custom line. Now, the third model is the VE Pure. This one's $2,250.
Yeah.
This one, some of you might already be familiar with.
Yeah. It
just has a new name. It was previously known as the VE7, which is a pretty legendary model in the Visioneers lineup.
Yeah, it is.
So the VE Pure is a 7-driver, all BA, all balanced armature IEM on each side, 2 bass drivers, 2 bass mids drivers, 1 mid driver, 1 mid-high driver, and 1 super-high driver. And Visioneer says, with the VE Pure, experience a sound that redefines neutrality, highly detailed, transparent, and true to the music.
Now, this was the other IEM in the family that I gravitated towards. I tended to favor more of the neutral of the VE Pro. However, the VE Pure, when I really wanted to get into the music, that was kind of the one I would grab for.
The VE Pure, previously the VE7.
Yeah.
Again, a legendary model from Visioneers, so make sure to check that one out. The next model in the Visioneers custom line is the VE XCon, and that is $2,600. Now, whereas the VE Pure essentially is what was once called the VE7,
right?
The VE XCon is inspired by a previous model.
Yeah.
So it's inspired by a model that was called the VE6 X Control. I guess that's where XCon comes from.
Yep.
And the VE XCon is a 6-driver, all balanced armature IEM. On each side, 2 bass drivers, 2 full-range drivers, 1 mids-high driver, and 1 high driver. And then there's a magnetic switch that gives you 2 different signatures. One they describe as powerful and engaging, and the other they describe as neutral and analytical. And that switch, they say, will reduce at the same time -3 decibels from 1K up to 5K, and -4 decibels from 100 hertz down. Here's what I'll say about the switch. I enjoyed both signatures, and it's a cool magnetic switch, but I enjoyed both signatures. But what's unusual about the switch is most switchable IEMs have a signature, like kind of an overriding signature, and then the switch is kind of a flavor switch.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
like an adjustment.
Yeah, like different versions of the same signature. With the VEXCon, it's like two completely different IEMs,
Right.
and I enjoyed both signatures. In that sense, I think it's a very interesting value because I feel like I'm getting two IEMs, and that's $2,600. The VEXCon is super compelling. Now, the last model in the custom line is also unquestionably my favorite.
Yep. I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either because it's called the VE Zen. And the VE Zen, like the VE Pure, is the VE 7.
Yep.
The VE Zen is the legendary VE 10.
Right.
The VE 10, as you well know, is one of my high reference IEMs. I carry it with me pretty much everywhere I go. It was a 10th anniversary model that they released in 2023 to celebrate 10 years of Visioneers.
Yep.
And I love it. And the VE Zen now, of course, is essentially the VE 10 now offered with custom fit version and, of course, a universal fit version like the others. But I want to specifically point out that the universal fit version of the VE Zen, you can't customize the appearance of it.
No, that one comes pre-configured.
Yes, so it is what it is, but it looks like a VE 10.
Right.
Yes, which is nice. So let's talk about it. So the VE Zen is the VE 10, which is one of my high references. If you're not familiar with it, here's what it is. It's a hybrid IEM. On each side, 10 drivers. And there is one dynamic driver for bass. I think it's an 8mm dynamic driver. And then the rest are balanced armatures distributed as follows. 4 bass mids drivers, 2 mids drivers, 2 mids highs drivers, and 1 super high driver. And that's in a 5-way crossover design. The sound signature, to me, is like rich neutral, hard-hitting, punchy bass. I think, again, it's an 8mm dynamic driver. Incredible texture for that level of presence. And again, it's within my range of neutrality. And I love the way it images. It's again, one of my high reference IEMs. If you want to hear at CanJam, one of my current high reference IEMs, VE Zen. And I think you will understand immediately why. So the Visioneers custom line is just so exciting.
Elise Audio will be your stop for IEMs from 7th Acoustics, Flip Ears, Melodic Artification, PMG, and others, including the latest limited release from Canpur. Join us now for a deep dive into the Canpur CP622B Ti.
Now, as you well know, the Canpur CP622B has been one of my reference IEMs at any price since the first day I heard them.
Yeah, it's been in your rotation for a while.
I love the Canpur CP622B. So you can imagine how excited I was when Canpur announced these.
Yeah.
This is the Canpur CP622B Ti.
Right, titanium.
Titanium. We love titanium, and they do have beautiful titanium shells.
Oh, yeah.
So when they first announced them, and we hadn't yet heard it, we were a bit mystified by what the differences were, even with the description they gave.
They were a little cryptic,
They were a little cryptic. So they said new tuning with original configuration because it has the same drivers.
Right, exactly.
As the CP622B. Then they said we have blended in the sound signature of titanium alloy into the CP622B Ti in order to create a new experience for our customers.
Which sounds good, but doesn't really tell you much.
It didn't really tell us much.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about the sound in just a minute, but for those not familiar with the CP622B, let's talk about the drivers because they're the same. So on each side, this is a 10-driver design. On each side, there's 6 Sonian balanced armature drivers, 2 Sonian ESTs, electrostatic tweeters, and 2 bone conduction drivers, and they're mid-range bone conduction drivers.
Right.
And the CP622B was the first IEM I'd ever heard with mid-range bone conduction drivers, and it has one of the most magical mid-ranges, in my opinion, to my ears, in an IEM that I've heard.
It does.
I'll give a little bit of a spoiler. The CP622B Ti continues that.
Thankfully, yes.
So I'm very happy with that. All right, it's a 5-way crossover. And also, the CP622B Ti, another difference I should mention, is it has an optimized shell.
Oh, yeah.
For more comfortable fit. I will say I find these to be somewhat more comfortable than the CP622Bs for sure. All right, the faceplate, which is gorgeous,
Yes.
was co-designed with Eletech. So the first time I saw them, I thought it was just a zigzag.
Yeah, if you're just looking quickly, it does kind of look that way.
Right, but if you look more carefully, you realize it's a very artful, unique presentation that says 622B.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, I love it too. It also comes with an updated custom Eletech cable, limited to 100 sets globally.
It's kind of a shame because I feel like a lot of people are going to be missing out with only 100 sets out there.
Yeah, I agree. So at CanJam, you don't want to miss the CP622B Ti because this might be your one chance to hear them.
Right.
And they're $4,399 US, which they're somewhat more expensive than the original Canpur CP622Bs.
They are, but that one stays in the line. So the original 6.
The original one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are limited. All right. Let's talk about the sound differences as I hear them. So again, one of the most magical things about the Canpur CP622B was the mid-range.
Yes.
it continues with these, thankfully. Now, the other thing, okay, the funny thing is with the Campfire CP622B, we both love it.
Yeah.
One of the things that you said was if you could change anything about it, you'd maybe give it a little more treble.
Yes, I would.
And maybe lean up the bass a little bit.
Yes, I would.
So these essentially are nearly perfect for you then.
Yeah, I wonder if they had my photo in their design room when they were tweaking it, because
Yeah, maybe.
I kind of feel like they made it for me.
Yeah. So they do come. I didn't think I wanted more treble with the Campfire CP622B.
But you see where I was going.
It works. It's beautiful. There's more air with this, so I get where you were going with that. They took a little bit of growl out of the sub bass.
I know you'll miss a little bit of that, but
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I do. I mean, it sounds different, but yet the same.
it is. Yeah, it's definitely familial.
And they image beautifully as well, which is another thing that the Campfire CP622B does. So you don't lose it with these. In fact, these image at least as well.
Right.
So for me, they're like two different sounding IEMs. I love them both. I can't really decide which one I prefer. I know you prefer these.
Yeah.
And at CanJam, given that these are limited, make sure that you do not miss the Campfire CP622B tie, whether you've heard the original one or not, and also make sure to check out the original CP622B. Now, without a doubt, at CanJam Singapore 2025, I would say the biggest star of the show was a new IEM from a new company. It's called the Mysticraft Acoustic Research Hex.
Yeah.
Mysticraft Acoustic Research is a new company from Lee Kwan Min. You guys probably know him from Elysian Acoustic Labs. The Hex is the flagship. It's like $9,000, so it's quite expensive. I will only say, we don't have it here right now, unfortunately. I heard it briefly there. First impressions, it was phenomenal. I wasn't alone. It was probably the star of that show. Here's what it has in it. It's 13 drivers. They say it's the world's first hex brid IEM, so it's 6 different kinds of drivers. On each side, one 9.2 millimeter Mystic LSR dynamic driver for bass, 2 Sonian bone conduction drivers that they say provide enhanced warmth and smooth mids, 5 balanced armature drivers for mids and highs, 2 planar magnetic drivers that they say contribute to a spacious and natural soundstage, 2 EST or electrostatic tweeter drivers for extended treble clarity and air, and 1 piezoelectric driver, which they say adds subtle nuances and textured acoustics to the overall sound experience. Advanced crossover design. It's a 10-way crossover design.
Dang.
With 6 different kinds of drivers. You just have to hear it. It was very, very impressive. One of the best first impressions from an IEM I've ever had, and I can't wait to hear it again. It will be at CanJam. Don't miss it. The faceplates, by the way, are also gorgeous. They're handcrafted, so make sure to check out the Hex at CanJam. Now, they had another model at CanJam Singapore that was much less expensive. It was $999. I don't know if it has a name yet, but it was a tribrid. Maybe that's the name. But the Mysticraft tribrid had 7 drivers with a 5-way crossover. On each side, one 9.2 millimeter Mystic LSR custom dynamic driver, 2 Sonian 2600 balanced armature drivers, 1 Knowles DWFK dual balanced armature, 1 dual planar driver, a brass dynamic driver chamber with isolated front and back chambers. And I think the tribrid has titanium shells. It'll come with a high-purity Ono continuous cast copper cable with an oxygen-free copper plug. Again, $999. I heard that one briefly, too. There was a line. It's like 45 minutes I waited in line to hear these things, and I didn't want to take too long because there were so many people behind me waiting. But first impressions for both were pretty stunning.
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't alone. Check out the impressions thread for CanJam Singapore 2025. They were the hits of the show.
If you're looking for new cables this CanJam London, do not miss the new Signature Series 2 cables from Effect Audio at the Hifonix exhibit. We're big fans of the Signature Series 2 models here at HeadFi, and here's why. Okay, now this next bit is specifically for anybody who's cable shopping right now because I might be able to save you a few bucks.
Now, since I'm always cable shopping,
yeah,
I'm all ears.
Yes, we definitely are. So ahead of CanJam SoCal 2024, Effect Audio sent us pre-production versions of the entire Signature Series 2 line of cables. Since that show, the entire Signature Series 2 has released, so we've been spending more and more time with them, getting to know them inside and out.
Yes, we have.
Now, the Signature Series 2 actually takes some of the technology they developed for their Code series of cables, so like the Code 23, Code 24, and Code 24C, for example.
Love the Code 24, still use it a lot.
Yeah, I love the 24C, it's fantastic. But the technology that they've taken from those cables is their solid core technology, and they've incorporated that into all of the Signature Series 2 cables, and I love that because these are more affordable cables, and I love it when flagship level technology comes down and it's more affordable because that's when I can actually afford it. So all of the new Signature Series 2 cables, they are 26 gauge cabling and they're exclusively 8-wire designs. They all come terminated with Connex. You can choose between MMCX, 2-pin, Pentacon, IPX, or A2DC. And then if you wanted to add more later on, you have that option as well. And then on the termination side, it's all rhodium-plated brass plugs. You can choose 2.5, 3.5, or 4.4 millimeter. You can also upgrade to a Pentacon OFC oxygen-free copper 4.4 millimeter plug, or you can go all out and go with the Termex swappable system, which is what I would recommend if you can swing for it, because that just gives you so much more flexibility.
With the huge variety of in-ears we have here, I love Termex and Connex.
Yeah, absolutely. And Effect Audio does say that all of the Signature Series 2 cables feature sonic improvements across the board. Now, for the three that we have, all three in the line, I've been spending most of my time with this. This is the Aries S2. Now, the Aries S2 is the entry-level model in their series. It's a copper cable with central solid core design, and this is going to come in right around $200 US. That's about $80 less expensive than the original Aries S. Now, why have I been spending the most of my time with this one? Because it's currently paired, you'll notice, with the Dunu Studio SA6 EST. That's an in-ear that I love. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the stock cable on that in-ear is silver. It's a silver cable.
I think you're right.
I wanted to try swapping materials around, and I went with the copper on the Aries S2. And I got to say, I think a lot of Dunu Studio SA6 owners are going to be checking this out together.
You should.
Absolutely. Now, there's the next one up the line is the Cadmus 2. The Cadmus 2 is a silver-plated copper with central silver core design cable. That's going to come in around $250 US, roughly around $50 less expensive than the original Cadmus. Now, I've been listening to that one. Let me explain. But I'm listening to that one with the Meze Audio Alba. Now, I need to explain for some people because the Meze Audio Alba is a very affordable in-ear. It's actually less expensive than the cable
I was just about to say that, yep.
Yeah. However, I think a lot of Meze Alba owners will be stopping by to try this pairing together because I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think they should too.
And then the last cable in the Signature Series 2 is the Eros S2. Now, the Eros S2 is a silver central solid core design with 6 multi-sized core bundles. Now, that one is coming in at $299 US. That's the same price as the original Eros S. However, because it's bringing that code technology down into the Signature Series, I think that's still a better value overall. So, still saving some money there. I've been pairing that one, believe it or not, with the High Senior Mega 5 EST, because that was an in-ear that blew both of us away. We didn't know what to expect when it arrived, and I think a lot of High Senior owners will be trying that combination. If you own the Mega 5 EST, you kind of owe it to yourself to stop by the exhibit and try those together.
Yeah, I love that they're hitting these price points because these are not price points we're used to from Effect Audio. They're known for their much more expensive cables.
Yeah.
I've visited Effect Audio's headquarters in Singapore, several times now, I think.
Yeah.
And they are very serious about what they're doing there.
They really are.
And I love that they're hitting these price points now.
Yeah. So anytime you can try an Effect Audio cable at CanJam, do yourself a favor, you have to hear it. Now, I want to talk about another Effect Audio cable. This is the Effect Audio AXC. But before I do, I need to give you a little bit of a history lesson, and you might actually not know this as well.
Oh, really? Try me.
So in 2023, Effect Audio, right around the Christmas holiday, released a very limited edition, special edition cable. It was called the Aries Cadmus or Aries X Cadmus. It was a fusion between the Aries and the Cadmus. It was available in very limited quantities, and once they were gone, they were receiving a lot of requests to bring it back. With the launch of the Signature Series 2, Effect Audio thought this might be the right time to revisit that. This is the Effect Audio AXC. It's joining the Signature Series 2 as another Signature Series 2 cable. Now, like the previous generation, it is a fusion. The AXC is a fusion. It's a crossover between the Aries S2 and the Cadmus 2 cables. Now, it's going to sit directly above the Cadmus 2 in the Signature Series 2 line. It's going to come in right around $269 US. And it's a fusion. They say it's a fusion of Aries S2's power and Cadmus 2's clarity. Inside, like a lot of the other Signature Series 2 cables, it is an 8-wire design, 26-gauge cabling. It also features some of the technology from that Code series. So it has a copper with central solid core cabling and silver-plated copper with central solid core as well. It features multi-size strands and multi-size core bundles. Like the other ones, it comes, with optional Connex connectors. By default, you get 2-pin, but you can select other ones as well. And it also comes terminated in either 2.5 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter, or 4.4 millimeter EA standard rhodium-plated brass plugs. Now, when a cable like this comes in, you got to figure out what am I going to pair it with. Well, I reached, believe it or not, for the Lime Ears Terra. Now, the stock cable on that in-ear, I believe, is just a standard Effect Audio's copper cable. But because of the fusion of the Effect Audio copper and silver, I thought that might be a good pairing. And, you know, the Terra didn't blow me away. I liked it, but it didn't blow me away. I'm actually really enjoying these two together. So anybody who has the Terra, you need to try these at a CanJam, absolutely.
Yeah, I dig the Terra, and I haven't even tried it with this cable, so I want to definitely do that.
Well, here you go. So, Jude, what I'm holding right now, I think might be my favorite Unique Melody IEM in quite some time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this is the Unique Melody Mest Jet Black. They are doing some very interesting stuff on the inside, so let's take a look at the drivers, because it is a 10-driver quad-brid IEM. It comes with a single dynamic for the lows, 2 balanced armatures for the mids, 2 balanced armatures for the highs, 2 ESTs for the ultra highs, and this is where it gets really interesting, 3 bone conduction drivers. Now, 2 of those are composite balanced armature bone conduction drivers, and one of them is a piezoelectric bone conduction driver. That is a very unusual arrangement, but it plays out so well in the sound signature.
Yeah, I would love to find out more about those bone conduction drivers.
Yeah. Something else interesting they're doing with these is they're going to set you back around $2,000 US with a cable, which in the US is not unusual. It's a, you know, very common price point. However, as far as Unique Melody goes, their IEMs can get quite expensive. You know, some of them are $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 US. At $2,000, very budget friendly as far as their line goes, and you can also buy it without a cable. Save you a little more money. So that's $1,700 if you get it without a cable. Now, if you do choose to go with the cable, you have 2 options. You can either choose an Effect Audio cable or a PW Audio cable, both premium aftermarket brands, both excellent cables.
And same price for
both.
For both, okay.
Yep, $300 for the cable.
I like this approach.
I do. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I just haven't been paying attention, but I don't know of anybody else doing it. I love that idea because a lot of IEM enthusiasts already have so many cables.
Yeah, they do.
And so they might not want to spring for the extra $300 for a cable. But if you don't have cables, or if you just want one of the 2 options, because let's face it, Effect Audio and PW Audio are a couple of the cable companies that a lot of IEM enthusiasts are buying cables from,
right?
And that are respected.
Yep.
Anyway, I think this is a neat approach.
Yeah, and like I said, it pays off so well in the sound. So for me, when you listen to these, I was pairing them originally with the Asla Sedna ear fit tips. I love those tips so much, but it has fantastic vocal separation, vocal detail. The vocal presentation is just like it's singing to me. I love that, and as someone who listens to a lot of vocal music, it's, you know, an excellent pairing. And then I also find that the bass and the lower mid-range is a bit forward. However, it's very well done. You're not going to find it as a bass or low-mid heavy signature, but it is emphasized a bit. And I think that plays very well with everything going on. And I'm guessing some of that magic is probably due to those bone conduction drivers.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, listening to what you're saying about it, I'm like sitting here nodding my head because that's how I feel about them as well.
Yeah.
You've described what I'm hearing. Yeah, these I really, really enjoy.
Yeah, they're fantastic. So if you can try Unique Melody at any CanJam, the Mest Jet Black is now a must here.
All right, I'm going to start this one off by saying Unique Melody and $800.
Yeah.
So we don't hear that very often together. That's absolutely one of the more affordable Unique Melody IEMs for sure. They don't usually play in this range. I think when we think of Unique Melody, we think of quite a bit more expensive.
Yes.
And more premium priced. This is the Unique Melody Stardust, and as I mentioned, it's like $800.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what it is. It's a 6-driver hybrid IEM, 1 dynamic for sub bass, 1 dynamic for bass, 2 BA drivers for mids, 2 BA drivers for highs. So in case you lost count, that's 2 dynamic drivers and 4 BAs per side.
Yep.
3D printed aerospace grade medical titanium shells.
It is a beautiful shell.
Okay, it was the shells that threw me off. I would not have expected these at $800 when I first held them because the shells are really cool.
Yeah, they are.
We love titanium.
Yes.
You know what they look like? They look like somebody took a slab of titanium ore out of the ground. I don't know where you find titanium ore. Anyway, they took it out of the ground, and then some guy started carving these shells because they look kind of raw.
Yeah.
I love the way they look.
I love rough titanium, yeah.
Yeah, we're partial to titanium.
Oh,
yeah. Tune Wire custom cable. What can you tell me about those?
So the Tune Wire custom cable, it's made with 5N long crystal high purity oxygen-free copper and 5N long crystal copper with silver plating, and it comes terminated in 2.5, 3.5, and 4.4 millimeter.
Thank you, because I didn't know a whole lot about that. All right, and again, they're $799 USD.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say about the Unique Melody Stardust. I think a lot of people... Oh, let's talk about sound signature first. So the sound signature to me... you mentioned when we were talking about it that sometimes the mids seemed a little rich to you.
They can, yeah.
Yeah, they can. But, you know, one thing that stood out to me was I feel like for the price range, they wanted to make sure that it was an articulate-sounding IEM.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think they did actually a lovely job. I feel like they kind of gave it some extra energy in the presence region to give it a sense of articulation.
Right.
I actually really enjoy the overall balance. I think they've done, frankly... okay, here's the thing. At CanJam, I think some people who are budget shopping for IEMs, like kind of staying in the reasonably priced range, might automatically skip Unique Melody.
Yeah, that's true.
And but don't, because here's an $800 option. While not inexpensive, is reasonably priced and gives you a reason to think about Unique Melody in that price range. I quite enjoy these.
Icelab, Flash Acoustics, and Vortex Cables will be exhibiting together at CanJam London, and their exhibit will have something for everyone. Here's our take on the Icelab Spectrumica, the flagship Flash Acoustics Venom, and the wallet-friendly Vortex Cables Iris 8-wire for HIFIMAN.
Now, the funny thing is when we got the Icelab Spectrumica, the very first time, we did a preview video after we got it, and the funny thing is we didn't know where in the lineup it was.
Yeah, it wasn't out yet, and there was no information online.
Yeah, they sent us no information. They sent us the in-ear. It was just like, listen to it, put it in the preview video. And so we guessed that it was their new flagship because we both preferred it to the Prismatica. And that's saying something because we both really like the Icelab Prismatica.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about what this is first. It's an 8-driver IEM, 1 ceramic dynamic driver, 1 bone conduction driver, 4 balanced armature drivers, 2 electrostatic tweeters. I love what they're doing with those tweeters.
Yeah.
Aviation-grade aluminum housing. I mentioned that because the housing is beautifully finished. High-quality components, Elna audio capacitors, Japan-made metal film resistors. Something called P-Sync phase synchronization chamber, a precision CNC milled chamber that ensures air tightness, reduces resonances, and aligns air and bone conduction phases. I don't know exactly the design or how that exactly works. I mentioned it for 2 reasons. One, ICE's CNC machining capabilities are kind of next level.
Yeah, they are.
His shop does just gorgeous work. And that might contribute, whatever that thing is, to the imaging.
Right.
Because I feel that these image better. They image very well, period, but they image better than even the Prismatica.
Yeah.
All right. It comes with 2 sets of tips. I only mention that because it comes with high-performance silicone tips. And then the other type, I need to mention the premium Eletech Baroque ear tips that it comes with.
Yeah, which we love.
Yeah, love those. Those are expensive ear tips.
Yeah.
And so that's quite a bonus to be packaged with them. All right. It also has something they call the mica cable. And it actually looks and feels like a couple of the flagship cables I use.
It does.
And the fixtures on it, remember we were just talking about the CNC machining capabilities. The fixtures are beautifully done.
Yep.
So those CNC machine fixtures are gorgeous. So now let's get to our listening notes. Let's start with you.
Okay. Well, I know you disagree, but I do make a small tweak to the default signature. I love what's going on in the upper end, and I love the mid-range on these, and I do take a little bit out of the bass. I think about 3 dB or so. However, once I do that, the detail that runs from the low end all the way to the high end, absolutely wonderful. Vocals are stellar. Really, with a small tweak, these are fantastic for me.
So I agree with you on almost all of that, but on the bass tweak you make, I disagree, homeboy.
Yeah, I know.
But anyways, yeah, no, I don't make that tweak. I take them as is and love the way they sound. My notes say, when I hear the Spectrumica, it sounds like a relative of Prismatica. The bass is more impactful, but it's also very clean. Mids are rich too, but again, very clean. To my ears, the Spectrumica is richer in overall balance than the Prismatica. Now, I want to make sure that it's clear these don't have what I would describe as predominantly smooth characteristic. They're just smoother than the Prismatica.
Yeah.
Yet they're more resolving, and they image better than the Prismatica, which is why I think we guessed correctly that they were the flagship, because they are.
Yep.
They're $2,000 at that price point. I find them very competitive.
Yeah.
And so, to me, you know, in the Western markets, I think they're still an emerging brand.
Yes.
I think with a couple of CanJams under their belt, they're not going to be little known in the Western markets anymore. And the Spectrumica, to me, at this price point, if you're shopping at that price point, then these are definitely IEMs you need to audition. Now, this beautiful aftermarket IEM cable I'm holding here is the Flash Acoustics Venom. So this is now the flagship of Flash Acoustics line. And Flash Acoustics is quickly becoming more popular in our community. It doesn't surprise me. The principles behind Flash Acoustics are extremely well regarded, fantastic reputation, even within the specific aftermarket cable community.
Right.
Now, the Venom, now the flagship, replaces, as the flagship, the Ultron. And I think the Ultron stays in the lineup, but this is now the flagship. Yeah. And the Ultron I'd been using for a while.
Yes.
Loved it so much, I ended up picking up the Thanos, which was under the Ultron. Been using those with some of my favorite IEMs. And now this. So in a previous preview video, we showed an exploded view of the Ultron.
Yeah.
Just to show how complex that design is, which you can actually see as you look at the cable in person.
Yes.
We don't have an exploded view of the Venom, but if you look at this Ultron exploded view, you can kind of see probably a very similar construction with this with some improvements. So the Venom is a 21.7 gauge cable. On the positive conductor side, gold-plated silver gold alloy, palladium-plated silver gold alloy, silver gold platinum alloy, and 7N SCOCC copper.
That's a crazy amount of material.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And then on the negative conductor side, palladium-plated 5N OCC silver and non-plated 5N OCC silver. This also, like I think the Ultron did, features Flash Acoustics X-Cross design.
Yeah.
And then this has a new feature, a new design with the Venom called AEC, or Anti-Electromagnetic Complex, designed to offer superior anti-static and interference-resistant properties. So I'm not sure exactly how that works, but again, there are some improvements. You can already tell if you've seen the Ultron, there are differences in materials and construction. So this I've been enjoying. This is one of my favorite IEMs right now. This is the Visioneers VE10. Just as I've been enjoying the Ultron and Thanos, I'm very much enjoying the performance with the VE10s. Wonderful upgrade.
Yeah.
If you're a cable enthusiast, if you love cable rolling, or you're just curious about it at CanJam, definitely do not miss the flagship Venom from Flash Acoustics. At CanJam Shanghai 2025, I visited Vortex Cables exhibit, and the first cable they wanted to show me, I expected would be an IEM cable.
Right.
I was wrong. The first one they wanted to show me was actually this one for an over-ear headphone, and more specifically for HIFIMAN headphones. It's called the Vortex Cables Iris 8-wire upgrade cable. It's part of Vortex Cables Zenith series. To be clear, though it's designed specifically for HIFIMAN headphones, it's not a collaboration cable with HIFIMAN.
Right.
Apparently, Vortex Cables, they're fans of HIFIMAN headphones, like so many headfires are, and wanted to voice and make a cable for it. So they say Vortex Cables has conducted in-depth comparisons and matching for multiple HIFIMAN headphone models, making meticulous adjustments during the tuning process to ensure the most suitable upgrade cable choice for HIFIMAN users. So let's talk about what it is. It's a 25.1 gauge cable, 1.8 meters in length. It uses dual 3.5 millimeter connectors, of course, because it's for HIFIMAN headphones.
Right.
On the amp side, terminations available, 6.35 millimeter, 4.4 millimeter, or 4-pin XLR termination. Now, the cable itself, spiral Litz Type 7 structure with multi-stranded conductors, using Taiwanese 7N, that's 7 nines OCC, single crystal copper with silver plating, and OCC is Ono continuous cast. And here's what they say further about the Iris 8-wire upgrade cable. The Iris 8-wire upgrade cable enhances the low-frequency response with greater depth and impact, delivering a more powerful beat. The mid-range vocals are richer and more emotive, as if the singer is performing right next to you. The high frequencies are smooth and extended, with abundant detail, avoiding harshness and providing a comprehensive enhancement and optimization of the HIFIMAN headphones' sound performance. They had it, again, at CanJam Shanghai. It sounded fantastic. I'm using it with the Susvara Unveiled.
Right.
But at the show, I believe they were using it with the HE1000 Unveiled. Sounded beautiful. And it's $429. So HIFIMAN headphone users, make sure to stop by and check out the Vortex Cables Iris 8-wire upgrade cable, as well as all of their cables. This was the first Rhapsodio IEM to come through HeadFi HQ.
Yeah, well,
This is the Rhapsodio Scarlet Beast, and I love that name. So tough.
Yeah.
Anyway, I dig the aesthetic, too. I like the way that cable looks. I
Yes.
like the color of those earpieces, and I love the way the earpieces look kind of old school.
yeah, they do.
Yeah. And I mean that in a very good way. So let's talk about what they are. The Rhapsodio Scarlet Beast is a 10-driver tribrid, one dynamic driver for the lows, using something called an RSD square pen driver.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what that kind of driver that is either. 4 balanced armatures for the mids, 4 balanced armatures for the highs, and 1 RSD square piezoelectric driver also for the highs. So I need to find out more about what these RSD square drivers are.
Yeah.
Now, the Scarlet Beast is priced at $4,099 USD, so around $4,100 US, which I would consider a premium priced IEM.
Right.
But within Rhapsodio's IEM lineup, it's actually not their most expensive IEM.
No, it's actually more towards the middle of the pack as far as pricing goes.
Right. But even though I would still say $4,100 is a premium priced IEM for most people.
Yep.
So if you're at CanJam and you're shopping for some premium priced IEMs, make sure to audition the Scarlet Beast. Now, in terms of its sound signature, I'd describe it as smooth.
Yes.
That's kind of one of its overriding characteristics to me. So, for example, I am very sensitive to sibilance. So if an IEM or headphone spotlights or highlights sibilance, accentuates it, I'm almost immediately turned off.
Yeah.
The Scarlet Beast does not do that at all. It's smooth. So I would find its treble quite smooth. And one thing I really like about it is the bass. Because the bass, to me, it has really nice extension, but it doesn't sound accentuated at all to me. Does it to you?
No, not really.
I would almost say that its bass is perceived flat but impactful.
Yeah.
And then its mids are quite linear. So I would say that this is a smooth-sounding IEM, and if that's your tonality, that's what you generally look for, and you're shopping in that premium-priced range, the Rhapsodio Scarlet Beast is a can't-miss-it CanJam.
Now, of course, that isn't a comprehensive list of all of the IEMs to be found at CanJam London, not even close. Astell&Kern will be demoing their new titanium-housed Luna, and Imminent Ears will have the new Sapphire. If bass is your thing, don't miss the Fat Freak Grand Maestro, and if you haven't already heard, there's a new Mark IV of the FIIO Monarch to be found at Linsol's exhibit. If you missed the Pentacon Sign Alpha 01 during last year's CanJam London, make sure not to miss it in 2025. If you prefer an IEM that you can tune, then you must have the Soft Ears Volume S on your audition list. If you want to hear some of the world's most popular IEMs from the past few years all in one location, be sure to check out the Subtonic Storm, the Nightjar Acoustics Duality, and the Symphonium Audio Giant at their exhibit. And many of the world's best IEMs are incomplete without cables, so stop by the Viking Weave Cables exhibit and see what they can bring to your signal chain. At CanJam London, ZMF Headphones will be giving us all the first taste of an upcoming launch, the ZMF Headphones Ori 3.0. While it unfortunately won't be available for purchase at the show, you can be one of the first in the world to hear the successor to a ZMF legend. We've spent a little time with it here in the studio, so let's take a look at the Ori 3.0.
This is the ZMF Headphones Ori 3.0. The 3.0 suggests there are Oris before it. I have never heard a ZMF Ori before this one.
Right.
So as I understand it, you have a little bit of background on it that I actually don't have, so please, Brian, tell us a story.
There's actually a lot of history, but Zach was gracious enough to give me a condensed version so I can relay it here quickly in the video. So Zach says, the very first Ori began life in 2015 as the ZMF Omni, a modded Fostex T50RP Mark II. A trademark cease and desist forced a rename, so HeadFi's HiveMind voted and the name Ori won the poll. Fast forward 10 years, and in true ZMF fashion, we're dubbing this second revision Ori 3.0. And he goes on to say, because maths are hard and nostalgia is fun, and I love that line. That's just so classic Zach right there.
Yeah, that is Zach, right?
Yeah.
And I love that because so this is the second Ori.
It is, but they're having a little bit of fun with the name, yeah.
How do I not remember any of that history that you just described? But anyway, I don't. And so this is the second one.
Yes.
But they're being smart, Alex.
Yeah.
And they're calling it the 3.0. All right, let's talk about what it is. I want to clarify something, though, because the reference to going back to this original Ori, they say it's a Fostex T50RP derived headphone.
Right.
This is not.
No, there's no hardware that's come from the original Ori. This is a spiritual successor.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this is an independently developed, fully modern planar magnetic driver developed by ZMF.
Yes.
Let's talk about what is inside. So it is a closed back planar magnetic headphone. On each side, there's an 80 millimeter planar magnetic driver with a 6 micron Kapton film. And ZMF says Ori 3.0's 6 micron diaphragm is around 3x thicker, so 3 times thicker than the 2 micron film in the Caldera, giving bigger macrodynamic slam while staying nimble. We'll talk about that sound in a minute. They say it has a fiberglass substrate driver baffle that's independent of the aluminum magnesium chassis. I should mention then that this is the aluminum chassis, but there is a magnesium upgrade option.
Right.
There's an optimized internal air. There are optimized internal airflow slots. And then I'm looking at a word that I do not recognize at all. Torrefied black Limba hardwood cups.
I don't think I've ever heard that word.
Torrefied? Yeah.
Yeah.
We uneducated, Brian.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read on. They say heat treating the wood at around 220 degrees Celsius in low oxygen torrefaction drives out moisture and volatiles, boosting stiffness to weight and imparting that caramel hue.
Oh, I will say, speaking of caramel, there's like a nice caramel texture to it too. Oh, this thing is beautiful.
Yeah. Their headphones are always, this is gorgeous.
It is. Yeah.
We like torrefaction.
Yes, we do.
All right, so it also has tunable bass.
Yes.
This is very important. We're going to talk about that shortly. 2 pad options, Caldera lambskin and Caldera suede. It has the Caldera asymmetrical magnet structure, atrium damping system, 60 ohm impedance, detachable dual mini XLR cable, and it's $1,999, which I think is a big deal
Right.
for a ZMF headphones planar magnetic headphone. Big deal. All right, let's talk about the the tunable bass because it involves port plugs.
Yeah, and I want to talk about a conversation I had with Zach. So when these first arrived, we were kind of going back and forth, and I was just getting a feel for what the plug does.
Right.
And in summary, the impression that I got from Zach was that with the plug removed, you're going to get more mid bass along the lines of the original Ori, and with the plug in, the low end is more refined. I'm going to say, based on the conversation and my listening impressions, that's accurate.
It is accurate. It's not just mid bass though to my ears. It's like bass.
It's more bass.
Yeah, it's just bass. Period. And it's noticeable. This is not like to me. It's not a subtle difference.
Right.
I think for most things I would prefer it with the plug in. So the more refined bass.
I am 100% plug in.
Yeah, you're 100% plug in. And for me though, I can see myself taking them out for like leaner recordings.
Yeah.
Because I have some like 80s new wave pop stuff that
Right.
is lean. And I can see myself taking the plugs out for that. But I love having the option. Another description they give is macrodynamic slam with maximum mid-range liquidity and airy treble. The classic Omni Ori modernized for 2025. And given that I haven't heard that original Ori, I want to take their word for it. But the rest of it sounds very fair.
Yes, it is.
In terms of how to describe this. I do like what they were saying earlier about macrodynamic slam while staying nimble. Because especially when you take the plugs out.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely more impactful.
Oh, yeah.
But here's what I'm going to say. Port plugs in or port plugs out. It is a more romantic sounding headphone to my ears.
Yes.
So, for example, the Atrium, which is one of my favorite headphones of all time, is more reference romantic. This is more romantic.
Right.
But I love a rich tonality. I love the Ori 3.0. So, to me, at CanJam, this is going to be another headphone that probably will have long lines to listen to.
Yeah.
Probably helped a little bit to be long by the fact that people are going to be playing with the plugs in, plugs out.
Yep.
So longer auditions. Hopefully they have a lot of them at CanJam. So make sure to stop and listen to the ZMFheadphones Ori 3.0. Beautiful sounding headphone. And I'm going to be curious to know which you prefer. Port plugs in or port plugs out.
So, Jude, it's no surprise to you, and I'm sure pretty much everybody watching here, that around our office, I'm the one that tends to gravitate more towards the studio reference sound signatures, whether that be in a headphone, in a speaker, in a home theater system, the whole gamut. This is the Audeze LCD-S20, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be joining my stable very soon. Now, before I dive into it, I do want to mention something I wrote down when I was doing my listening impressions because it kind of came to me in the moment and it just felt right. So I said that the LCD-S20 has the heart of the LCD series because it is an LCD series headphone, but it has the soul of the series.
I like that, Brian. It's pretty poetic, but I actually agree with you.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's a studio reference headphone done very well. So I want to talk about a couple of similarities here with the MM100, which I feel is kind of a sibling, even though they're in different families. So when you compare it with the MM100, you're going to see that it has the same headband suspension system, the same dual-sided single entry cable, so you can choose left or right. You're also going to see the same magnesium and aluminum and steel construction throughout the entire design. And you're also going to have a 90mm planar magnetic driver. It also has Audeze's Fluxor and Phaser technologies inside, but there are a few differences from the MM100 as well.
A big one.
A pretty big one. This is closed.
Correct.
Very different there.
Yeah.
And I will say it has a really nice cloth texture on the outside of the ear cup. I love it in the hand. When you pick it up, it just feels fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Another place where this differs is it has a magnetically attached ear pad system, which I love because in the past you may have heard stories about people running into issues when they swap pads depending on the headphone. This magnetic system makes it so very easy.
I think it should be a law.
I love that.
All headphones must have magnetically attached ear pads.
We're seeing more and more of that, and I love it. I'm 100% here for it.
Same here.
It's a 550-gram headphone, so it's not the lightest, but the headband system does a nice job distributing that weight.
Yes, I found it comfortable.
And it's an 18-ohm impedance. Now, another place this differs from the MM100 is this incorporates Audeze's SLAM technology. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the first headphone that had SLAM was the Carbon 2, I believe.
That would be correct.
Okay. And Audeze describes SLAM as saying, SLAM incorporates precisely engineered channels seamlessly integrated into the ring that connects the ear pads to the drivers. Each channel's length, cross-section, and shape are meticulously tuned through advanced simulations, precision measurements, and critical listening to achieve the ideal low-frequency response. And I love that description because for me, this is the ideal low-frequency response.
Yeah, that we agree on this, though. This is one of the rare headphones or earphones or speakers where we agree on bass level.
Yes.
Like, we don't often agree on bass tuning.
Yeah.
I tend to like more than you do, but on this one, we're like totally in agreement.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I'm going to dive straight into my impressions. So I wrote down that this is a studio class sound with deep bass extension and control, and that control for me is critical. I love sub bass when it's well managed, and they do a fantastic job of incorporating that actually through the entire bass spectrum. The Slam really does work well on
I agree.
this. It is slightly richer to me than the MM100, and I'm guessing part of that's probably due to the closed back nature, just differences, and maybe because of Slam, a little bit of a maybe adjustment just to the overall presentation. It's definitely not what I would call rich. It is just richer than the MM100 if you're doing comparisons for an open to a closed back studio headphone.
Definitely richer than the MM100.
Yeah. It also has more bass than the MM100, but that should come as no surprise. I also noted that this has a nice wide presentation for a closed back. It sounds fantastic, and it's one of those things I can listen to for hours. I'm falling in love with this thing.
Yes, I agree. I would say this is definitely in my range of neutrality. No surprise you like it. Bass-wise, again, surprised we agree there.
Yeah.
But we do. Doesn't happen very often. Love the control. I love bass control too.
Yes.
I just like more of it typically than you do. But on this one, we agree on the level and the tuning and the control, the resolution. It's smoother up top than I expected.
It is.
But I love it. It's still resolving. And I also said that I agree with you that the soundstage is wider than I expected from a closed back Audeze. And I want to also mention it has really good passive isolation.
Yes, it does.
So, yeah. I'm in love with this headphone too.
Another surprise, it comes in at $499. So it's not going to break the bank either. If you're at a CanJam and you have the option to try this, you absolutely have to.
Now, we've said before that since the release of the Focal Baptiste, which is their Bluetooth noise canceling on-the-go headphone, that for that type of headphone, it's been our standard here at HiFi HQ.
Right.
And I'm happy and thrilled to report that there is a new standard for me, probably for you too.
Yep.
Also by Focal, also a Baptiste, but it's the Baptiste MG.
Yes.
And as the name might suggest, it uses a solid magnesium dome driver versus aluminum magnesium dome drivers in the original Baptiste. It's just a better headphone to me, and I'm so excited about these. They're also more expensive. They're $1,299 US versus $699 US. So this is their shot over the bow of that class of kind of, I guess you'd say, ultra high-end Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah.
And hello, they've done a beautiful job with these. All right, let's talk about them. Focal says that this is the top of the range version of Baptiste headphones, and it is.
Yeah,
they're just better. And then the noise canceling is better.
Yes.
So I want to talk about that very quickly. Here's what they say about the noise canceling. They say new digital microphones to optimize ANC, ensuring effective control over ambient noise and improved soundproofing of voices. So I haven't flown with it yet, but I will be flying with it very soon. Doing some testing, early testing here with just different noise stimuli here at HiFi HQ. This does cancel noise better than the original Baptiste.
Yeah, and I want to say in my testing, I actually find that the Baptiste MG has lower self-noise than the original Baptiste does.
Yeah, so in ANC mode with some headphones that have ANC, you'll hear self-noise in the circuit, usually very low level.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is even quieter still
Yep.
than the original Baptiste, which is always welcome as well. Did I talk about the tonal balance?
Not yet, no.
Okay. So the tonal balance for me versus like in its pre-equalized, so its default sound signature versus the original Baptiste is richer in tone but more resolving throughout.
Yeah.
Frankly, for me, it's just better.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And because of that resolution, if I make a small tweak in the EQ, it's phenomenal for me too.
I know where you're doing the EQ. You're probably taking a little bass down.
Yep.
Because it does have a richer tone than the original Baptiste, but it is more resolving. I've been leaving it in its default signature, but I'll play more with the EQ, but I'll probably leave it in its default signature. I'm quite happy with that. But the resolution, definitely better.
Yes.
So that's a big deal. All right. It's also more comfortable, as I might have mentioned earlier. It's more comfortable for me.
Me too.
Because they redesigned the headband. There's now memory foam, ear pads, and pads.
Yeah, that's what does it for me, those pads.
Yes, but what does it for me more, this is more of a problem with me because my head's so huge. I have a big noggin. The original Baptiste in its largest size setting was simply comfortable.
Okay.
But I could have used a half click out of each side.
I get you.
But I could still wear it for hours. This, on its largest setting, is actually, sometimes I need to click it in one. So I can get a perfect fit with these, like perfect. So they're even more comfortable for me. And I do find, I'm not sure if it's new ear pads, but they're more comfortable just on my ears.
Yeah, they are.
So there's a new backlit flame logo.
That's cool.
Just redesigned. I think it looks cool. Magnesium yoke, aluminum bracket, and real leather for the headband. Elegant chestnut finish following the design of the clear MG. And okay, I should mention it also has Bluetooth 5.2 multipoint versus Bluetooth 5.1 multipoint. But all the things that the original, other than the things I've mentioned as differences, it has all of the things that the original Baptiste has, including USB DAC mode, 3.5 millimeter analog wired mode, and that USB DAC mode is nice, 24/192 support. Yeah, but it's just a better headphone.
Yes.
And it's just more resolving. And it is, I think, going to be both of our new standards for Bluetooth on-the-go ANC headphone, and I can't wait to fly with this.
Yeah, we'll be fighting over that on the next flight.
Now, since Focal released the Focal Baptiste, which is their ANC wireless Bluetooth headphone, it has been here at HeadFi HQ, and I know you agree with me, our standard for wireless ANC Bluetooth headphones in terms of audiophile sound quality.
Right.
Now, they originally released it in a colorway. What do they call it?
They call that black silver.
Black silver. And then later on, they released the Dune colorway, which is the sand-colored colorway, which I love.
Yeah.
It's the model I pretty much carry with me everywhere whenever I'm carrying a backpack or a sling. And the latest colorway, I think, is going to excite a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Because now there's the Focal Baptiste Deep Black.
Yes.
Now, the funny thing is, the original colorway was often referred to as black.
I think most called it black.
Right. But now we have Deep Black. And I would say this is the one that we're going to think of most when we say black Baptiste. All right. So this has what the other Focal Baptiste colorways have, other than the different color.
Yep.
In case you're not familiar with the Focal Baptiste, we should talk about that. So all use 40 millimeter aluminum magnesium M-shaped dome drivers. They use that aluminum magnesium dome in several. That's the same dome in several of their high-end flagship class wired headphones.
Yeah, quite a few models.
Quite a few models. It has Bluetooth 5.1 with SBC, AAC, aptX, and aptX adaptive, which is very nice.
Yes.
For audiophile wireless headphone enthusiasts.
Yes, it is.
Active noise cancellation, including silent and soft modes, plus transparency or pass-through.
Yeah, I like that you get multiple ANC settings, which is nice to have.
And we actually do use all of those modes. Yep. You can use it wired via 3.5 millimeter, or, and I really like this, via USB-C wired. And when you do that, you're essentially turning it into a high-res DAC amp combo in a headphone.
Yeah, that's what brings out the absolute best.
Yeah, in absolute terms, that should be the best performing mode. I mostly use it in wireless, I mean.
Yes, same here.
And I'm sorry, but even comparing the two, it's kind of splitting hairs.
They're pretty close.
Yeah, all right. So now, over 30 hours of battery life with Bluetooth and active noise canceling enabled. So if you're using the most battery-eating features, you can still expect over 30 hours of battery life.
Yeah.
If you happen to wear it down, there's a fast charge function where you get 5 extra listening hours with 15 minutes of charge.
Yeah, it's enough time to charge while you're eating on a plane.
That's very specific, Brian.
I've done it.
Yeah, so very nice. It could be the difference between finishing your movie with your headphones or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, it is the same price, $699. But again, it's deep black. So this is the Focal Baptiste Deep Black. Make sure to check it out at CanJam. I love this colorway, and it might steal my affection from the Dune for a while. I was just looking at the monitor before we shot this, and I didn't realize until I looked at it this way how big these headphones are.
That's true.
These are large headphones.
They are.
I'll explain why in a second, guys, because I think I can explain that. So this is the FIIO FT7. I'm going to start with my conclusion. These are the best headphones by a margin, in my opinion, that FIIO's ever made.
Oh, hands down.
So you agree?
Yeah.
These are fantastic. They're a planar magnetic headphone, and I guess the reason they're big is because they do use very large planar magnetic drivers.
Right.
So on each side, a 106 millimeter full-size planar driver using gold plus silver precious metal multi-layer coating technology that's patent pending. I don't know exactly what they're patenting, but it's patent pending for improved sound quality and durability. As for the diaphragm, 1 micron ultra-thin film diaphragm.
Right.
That's very thin. It does sound very responsive, very resolving.
Yeah, it does.
Very fast. Uniform and even magnetic field design with 18 high-performance N52 neodymium magnets on each side.
And those make it a little hefty.
A little. So they're 427 grams,
Right.
which really isn't that heavy. And they're also a very large headphone.
They are.
So it distributes the weight beautifully. The headband is well designed. The comfort strap distributes it beautifully. All right. The zebra wood grill is nice.
It is beautiful.
So it has a zebra wood grill. Yeah, I find it can be kind of both old school and new.
Yeah, it can.
I mean, maybe the new school is the carbon fiber.
Definitely helps.
So there's a lot of carbon fiber on it. I think it's a lovely headphone.
Yeah.
Lambskin and suede ear pads.
Very comfortable.
Yes, that might help with that weight distribution. Liquid nitrogen frozen single crystal copper cable.
That is a nice cable.
It is a nice cable. I like the plugs on it too.
I do too.
Custom detailed linen earphone storage case.
Always nice to have a case included.
Yeah, but it's actually also a very nice case.
It is.
All right, anyway, enough with the spec read. Let's talk about sound. So these, to me, the FIIO FT7 is squarely in my range of neutrality.
100%.
I find this a very neutral sounding headphone.
Yep.
And I mean that in a good way, not a boring way. It's also exciting sounding to me.
Yeah.
Because the bass, though not emphasized, is tactile and impactful.
Yes, it is.
And now I'm just speculating. It maybe is a function of that large driver size. Maybe. The imaging is also lovely.
Yes, it is.
I find it to be big imaging. Do you agree?
I do.
And maybe that is also a function of the big diaphragm that's covering your ears. I don't know. The one thing I want to say about these is they're so neutral. I was comparing them to, the Audeze LCDX.
Yeah.
So I love the Audeze LCDX. It's used in a lot of studios.
Yes.
It's one of my neutral references, even though I think some people will debate its neutrality. It's probably on the smoother side of my neutral range, but I can't be that wrong. A lot of studios use it.
Yeah.
This is even more neutral. The FIIO FT7 is even more neutral.
Right.
Because it has more going on with the upper mids, like more energy in the upper mids and treble. So I find it maybe a more articulate tuning.
Yes.
But never harsh.
Right.
Also, when I turn it up loud, you should not turn it up loud, guys. Spare your hearing. But when I do turn it up loud, it never loses its composure. So I haven't measured it yet, but I'm going to guess the distortion on it is very low. They sound technically capable.
Yes.
Like very technically capable, well-crafted headphones.
And it was designed by FIIO.
And it was designed by FIIO. But even then, they're still by a margin the best that FIIO's made to my ears. And so at CanJam, no matter what price point you're shopping in for over-ear headphones, make sure to audition the FT7. I think they're absolutely fantastic.
Oh, they're wonderful. Now here at HeadFi, we are no strangers to HIFIMAN's unveiled family of headphones, and this is the HIFIMAN Aria Unveiled. It is the 3rd edition in the Unveiled series. Now, this came out right around the end of 2024, and it's, in my opinion, a wonderful evolution of what many know as the Aria Organic. But let's talk about what this is. So it's the HIFIMAN Aria Unveiled. It's going to have HIFIMAN's unveiled technology quite clearly.
So let's talk about what that is real quick.
Yeah.
So you can see the back of the driver.
Yep.
And you are literally looking at the back of the driver because
straight through.
There's nothing covering it at all.
Right.
Until you're not using it, then you put on the magnetic veils to protect it.
Yeah, of course.
So as far as open back headphones go, any of the unveiled models are open back.
Very open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to explain that.
Yeah. So when you put the veil on, you're protecting a number of HIFIMAN technologies. For example, you're protecting that nanometer thickness diaphragm. You're protecting the stealth magnets. Obviously, it has the unveiled tech, which HIFIMAN says reduces harmful reflections and refractions from the body. And you can see, because it's so open, the sound has nothing to push back against.
Right, you're not going to get any back reflection.
Exactly. Yeah. It has a 27 ohm impedance. The weight is reasonably light at 413. It's not the lightest of headphones, but it is very comfortable.
It feels
because
very light.
Of the headband, yeah.
To me, it feels very light.
I think the headband system does a great job distributing that weight.
I agree.
Cable options, you're kind of limited out of the box. You're going to get a stock 6.35 millimeter cable, but because it has dual entry 3.5 millimeter connections, you can use a plethora of aftermarket cables, including a number of them made by HIFIMAN themselves.
Right. I've been using a HIFIMAN 4.4 millimeter terminated cable.
Yeah.
They're available.
Yeah, wonderful to have that many options available. And price-wise, here in the U.S., you're looking at $14.49 U.S., which in my opinion kind of puts it at the top, maybe even the very top of overall value in HIFIMAN's headphone family.
I will say, in my opinion, right now, it's the best value HIFIMAN headphone.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Today. Yes.
Yeah. So when you're at CanJam, you want to listen to this because if you know the HIFIMAN Aria Organic, this is an evolution of that sound.
Yeah.
And the Organic had, like the name implies, a very organic. I found it very natural, very harmonious sound overall.
Yeah, we loved it.
Exactly.
Still love it.
Yeah.
And so with the Aria Unveiled, like you're saying, it has a lot of that magic.
It does.
So it has impactful bass for an open back planar.
But not too much for me.
That's, yeah. So I love the bass.
Yep.
And then also it's bell clear all the way through, but it's never strident, harsh. Like, I guess just like the Organic name and the Aria Organic, this still maintains that.
Yeah.
So it has very natural treble. I've run my sibilance test tracks through it. It never imparts sibilance.
But it has enough sparkle for me. I love the upper end of
Yes,
this.
it's extremely resolving
Yes.
images beautifully, which is probably helped by the unveiled nature of it.
I think so.
So this, to me, again, the Aria Unveiled is the best value HIFIMAN headphone, I think, available today.
Yeah, and since everybody can audition at CanJam, they absolutely have to.
So this is the HIFIMAN HE1000 unveiled. Yes, the HE1000 has now received the unveiled treatment that started with the Susvara unveiled.
Yes, it
What
has.
that simply means is there is a magnetic veil, a magnetic cover that you put on when you're not listening to it to protect the back of the driver, because when you take that magnetic veil off, which you must always do when you're going to listen to it, it exposes the back of the driver completely.
Yeah, because it's extremely exposed.
Extremely exposed.
Yeah.
And this would make it the second fully open back design planar magnetic headphone from HIFIMAN.
Yeah, fully open back.
That's the keyword, is fully. And as with the Susvara unveiled, it's designed to eliminate the negative effects of sound wave reflections. Now, there's something about that unveiled concept that definitely seems to be working,
I
because
agree.
there are some consistent changes between this and the original HE1000s and the Susvara unveiled and the original Susvara.
Right.
Let me explain. So when I first heard the original HE1000, because there have been a few different models of it.
Yeah.
I first heard the original one, I don't even know.
Oh, that was ages ago.
Yeah, a zillion years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was at a CES. And I was completely blown away by it because of its flagship resolution.
Yep.
And I think it was the flagship in the HIFIMAN line until the Susvara was released.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, it was also the first headphone to come out with their nanometer diaphragm.
Yeah, you're not mistaken, actually. You are correct.
Yeah.
So that HE1000 has been a staple in this community ever since the first model was released.
Yeah.
For good reason, for that flagship resolution. This does, though, again, what the Susvara unveiled did for the Susvara. It improves resolution, but it also, to my ears, has a smoother treble performance than maybe any other HE1000 I've heard.
Okay.
So it would be the least bright to my ears.
Right.
I haven't measured it, so I can't say I confirm that with measurements or anything, but to my ears, it sounds smoother, and it has the most balanced signature of any of the HE1000s I've heard, and that's saying something. So, and yet it's more resolving.
Right.
And that's kind of how I describe the Susvara unveiled versus the original Susvara.
Yeah, exactly.
So an incredible headphone has become even more incredible. Frankly, it's a lot less expensive than the Susvara unveiled.
Oh, no
Like
question.
way less expensive.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what we deal with in this industry, right? Is kind of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
So the Susvara unveiled is unquestionably more resolving. It is the better headphone objectively. Just it's incredible.
No doubt.
But this comes way closer to it at its price than I would have expected it to.
Yeah.
It's that good.
So this beast of a headphone is the HIFIMAN Isvarna.
Yeah.
The Isvarna was launched at CanJam Dallas 2024, and it was met with a lot of praise. People were having fun with the Isvarna. I will say it. I'm having a tremendous amount of fun with the Isvarna. Let's talk about what it is, because it's a very unique headphone. So it's a closed back, dual driver, hybrid over ear. It uses HIFIMAN's high-end planar magnetic full range drivers. So it uses their nanometer thickness diaphragm and HIFIMAN stealth magnets. So it's one of their higher end planar magnetic drivers. But they couple it with dynamic drivers.
Yep.
So for the dynamic drivers, they cover the lows up to around 300 hertz, I believe. And it's an oval-shaped subwoofer design. So you can see where the drivers are on the back here on the back edge, and they went with oval drivers to get it to fit.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but when I think of oval drivers, I always think of one of my favorite loudspeakers of all time, which is the Lin Isobaric, that also used oval woofers. Anyway, just makes me think of those.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about those drivers, I'll say, is actually the angling. So inside, the planar magnetic is in a more conventional place, but the dynamic driver is actually off angle, and they do that to address phase issues. And I gotta say, they did a fantastic job incorporating them, and I think that's such a cool feature of the headphone.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, it works really well, and they image beautifully as well, very wide. And let's talk about that sound, by the way. So the sound with these, okay, so if you think of planar magnetic headphones, most of which are open back, they generally have very linear frequency response down through the bass.
Yep.
Very flat. These don't. Because of that subwoofer, they are unabashedly a subwoofered planar magnetic headphone, closed back, by the way, again. And I love that about it. So I tend to listen at low volume levels. So when people take a headphone from me, they usually end up turning up the volume.
Sure.
And if you're familiar with equal loudness contours, or what people call the Fletcher-Munson curves, that's the older version, then you'll understand why. So at lower volume levels, it doesn't really sound as bass emphasized.
Right.
But when you turn it up, it is a bass emphasized headphone, unquestionably, unabashedly, right? But it's still beautifully done. I enjoy the heck out of these because now you have, again, a high-end HIFIMAN planar magnetic headphone. And at the price, it's like $2,900 US.
Yeah.
This is one of their higher-end planar headphones. but with the fun and slam and physicality, that palpability of those subwoofers. So I really enjoy these, and I definitely enjoy them, especially when I'm listening at lower listening levels, to have that presence still in place with the resolution of the planar drivers. Fantastic. And again, they image beautifully. So this is a can't miss at CanJam, just because there's nothing else like them. Meze Audio continues to surprise us. And they're doing it again with this headphone. This is the Meze Audio 105 IR. IR means air in Romanian. And the 105 IR surprised us both because of how close it comes to the one you're holding, which is the Meze Audio 109 Pro.
Yeah.
Now, that's been out for a while, and it's quite popular. Let's talk about what it is first. Let's start with that one, and then we'll talk about the 105 versus it. The 109 Pro versus other Meze Audio headphones, especially their flagships, is actually on the more affordable side.
Yeah, considerably.
Yeah, and it's also a dynamic headphone versus planar magnetic.
Right.
It's a 50mm dynamic driver made of a carbon fiber enforced cellulose composite. And then the torus, which is the surround, I believe, the torus around the dome is composed of beryllium-coated semicrystalline polymer that they say they chose because beryllium's high damping qualities. They say it helps suppress unwanted resonances, giving the 109 Pro its neutral, vivid, and transparent character. Okay, let's talk about its character. To me, it is within my range of neutrality.
Yeah.
But the treble is always on the upper range of my preference.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, depending on what I'm listening to, it can hit me as a little bright in the treble.
And I can definitely see that for you. However, for me, this falls square within my wheelhouse. That's where I like my treble to be.
Yeah, I know. So you prefer the 109 Pro.
I do.
Okay. So the 105 IR, which is quite a bit more affordable than the 109. Okay, let's talk about the physical changes first.
Yeah.
The 109 Pro has wood, which Meze likes to use in some other things. And it has wood, but it also has a machined metal chassis.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly what it's made of, but it's a beautiful machined metal chassis. This uses a polymer chassis and no wood. On the driver side with the 105 IR, I believe it's a similar driver. I believe it's a 50mm dynamic driver, but they don't use the beryllium torus, the beryllium-coated torus. Now, in terms of sound signature, I find them to be quite similar in terms of like very familial, very of a family. But they've smoothed the treble on the 105 IR in a way that I definitely prefer.
Yeah.
I find it to be a more refined treble. I would have to give the ultimate resolution in treble, in terms of between these two, to the 109 Pro.
Yeah.
But that smooth treble with the 105 IR is more in my wheelhouse. And I'm not sure if they've retuned the bass and mids versus the 109. It could just be perceptual.
It very well might be, yeah.
Because it sounds richer to me, but it might be the change in the treble.
Right.
Anyway, if you're looking for a Meze Audio headphone, you can't afford their flagships, but you love their beautiful headphones, listen to the 109 Pro. And if you like that, you're in good stead because it's quite a bit more affordable than their flagships.
Yeah.
And if you like that signature, quite articulate, I like what they said here about it being vivid and transparent. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But the 105 IR, you're in even better stead if you prefer this because it's quite a bit more affordable, even more affordable than the 109 Pro. And if you want that kind of maybe a smoother signature than the 109 Pro. So these are can't miss headphones at CanJam. This is the Meze Audio 105 Silva. I first encountered these at High-End Munich or Munich High-End. I always say Munich High-End. Munich High-End 2025. And I immediately fell for these.
Right.
Wonderful pair of headphones. Now, let's talk about what they are. They are dynamic headphones. They, on each side, there's a 50mm dynamic driver with titanium-coated semicrystalline polymer torus. That's the surround, I believe. It has a copper zinc stabilizer, which Meze says adds rigidity and strength for a fast transient response and pleasantly textured bass with minimal distortion. The ear cups are made of walnut wood and high-strength polymer, and they're gorgeous, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't think Meze's ever made anything that I haven't loved the design of. To me, they're like headphone sculptors.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time dedicated to the aesthetics, and it pays off.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But also comfort, thankfully.
Yes.
And that brings me to the self-adjusting spring steel headband, which is the same one as on the 105 IR. But it's also a very similar headband to what they've used on all their dynamic headphones. So I think sharp-eyed Meze Audio fans probably knew right away this was a dynamic headphone from its design.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about the sound. So Meze Audio says the 105 Silva includes the technicalities of 109 Pro combined with the warmth and genre versatility of the 105 IR. They further say that the 105 Silva specializes in mid-range presentation for vocals and strings, meaning listeners can enjoy the liveliness and impact of any music without sacrificing the micro details present in well-recorded tracks.
Yeah, those definitely apply.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think these are very fair descriptions. So they mentioned the 109.
Yeah,
I really like the 109. I will say, however, you love the 109.
that's my favorite.
Of their dynamic headphones, that's your
Yep.
favorite.
Yep.
For me, I enjoy it, but it is probably right up there at my limits, maybe even past my limits in terms of treble energy,
Right.
brightness. This is still sparkly without going there.
Yeah.
It's more in my wheelhouse. Now, they mentioned the 105 IR. That's a polite, like fatigue-free, easy-to-listen-to headphone.
Yeah, that's getting a lot of buzz too.
It is. It is. But for anybody that just wants some more sparkle, 105 Silva. They're getting so good with their dynamic driver products. I mean, there's the Alba, the IEMs, super values
Yeah.
at the price. I frankly think they're the best IEMs they make, and they're their least expensive IEMs that they've released. These are $499
Yep.
or 499 euros or 499 pounds.
Yeah.
So they are, for what they offer, like the Alba, but with dynamic headphones, an incredible value.
Yes.
So at CanJam, make sure to check out the Meze Audio 105 Silva. I will say, of their dynamic headphones currently, these are my favorites.
This is the Abyss headphones Joel, spelled Joal. You were telling me just before we started shooting that it stands for...
That stands for Jack of all listening.
which I think is funny. But it's true.
Yeah.
That's appropriate, I mean. And we'll get to how it sounds in a minute. So the goal with Joel, the Joel goal, was to, according to Abyss, make their most affordable headphones to date without sonic compromise.
Right.
I think they succeeded.
Yeah.
Okay, you think so too.
I do.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. So how did they do it? So first of all, for a company that makes machined aluminum headphones, CNC machining can be very expensive and time consuming.
Yes.
These are still CNC machined. But let's compare it to like a Diana. By the way, they look like Dianas.
Yeah, they're clearly inspired by the Diana.
And Abyss admits that. They
Yes.
call them Diana inspired. Okay. So they got the machine time down to 1/3 the machine time of Diana. So Diana's machine time is well over an hour just to machine the sides.
Does not surprise me.
Yeah, 600 holes in each one.
Yeah.
For the Joel, they optimized the design to let the machine fly through the machining process.
Okay.
You can see one example of how. Instead of 600 holes, they've got these long single rows that make up a very open back grill design.
Yeah, and they look super open.
They are very open back. So I believe if you consider this a Diana or a Diana platform type headphone, compared to any of the Dianas, this should be the most open back, which I think might contribute to the sound signature that I love so much about these.
I bet it does.
Another way they minimize cost is to not offer all the trimmings.
Right.
So this is a less intricately designed headphone. They don't have to, worry about putting any other trim pieces like carbon fiber trim pieces on it. So it's a simpler design. It's also available only in black, a high durability black finish.
Yeah, Model T approach.
Yeah, like the old Ford Model T, available in black. And when you make it only in one color, one configuration, it's easy to lower. You can lower costs.
Right.
And then the cable.
Yes.
Now this one surprised me because I thought this was going to be more expensive, a cable, but it's not. This cable is actually JPS Labs, the cable company, is actually affiliated with Abyss headphones. So that team has a tremendous experience with cables.
Yeah, they do.
So if they're going to figure out how to lower the cost of a cable and make a great cable still, it's them.
Yeah, and I want to say something about this cable. So first of all, it's super soft and supple.
Yeah, very supple.
I love that. It's a 16-core cable, 2-meter length. Inside, you'll find super soft OFC copper alloy, so that's oxygen-free copper alloy. It's terminated in 4.4 millimeter. Now, this does something that I think all headphone cables should do going forward. It's terminated in 4.4, but they have optional adapters. So 4.4 millimeter to 6.35 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter or to 4-pin XLR.
All right, here's the 4-pin XLR one.
Yeah, I think that's the method. Give me the cable in 4.4 and then give me the option of an adapter.
Right. So now we've covered all the ways I'm aware of that they reduced costs.
Yeah.
So now we know how they did that, but did they do it without sonic compromise? Yes. Yeah. We both said the same thing. So these you love them because they sound like studio monitors.
Yeah, they do.
And I love them because they sound like studio monitors. They are also, in saying that, they're the most neutral Abyss headphone to date.
They are.
The most conventionally tuned headphone to date. Something with the last couple of Diana models I feel like they've been working toward, and they've done it with these. I think that more open back design gives it beautiful imaging.
Right.
They're also the most forgiving Abyss headphones to date,
They are.
to my ears anyway. And I prefer them with the stock pads that come with them. I tried rolling other pads, the Diana pads. I just like the stock vegan pads that come with them. That's the tuning that I'm talking about. And it's forgiving, but still very resolving.
Right.
And it is, by the way, easier to drive than most of the other headphones they've ever done, except for the Diana MR. They're as sensitive as Diana MR, 30 ohms. And with that forgiving nature, I can drive them with anything.
Right.
So they also couple very easily on my head. So there's no finickiness with fit. Just put them on. They fit like a conventional headphone as well. I think at CanJam, of all the Abyss headphones, this is the one that's going to most immediately, not just because of price, but that's going to be a big part of it.
Yep.
This will most immediately resonate with people, I think, at a CanJam.
Oh, yeah.
In our community. And I think this is going to be a massive seller for them. It's fantastic. This is the Abyss Headphones Diana DZ. And what I'm about to say about the Diana DZ might be considered kind of like heresy to some diehard Abyss Headphones fans. But know this, I am an Abyss Headphones diehard fan. I think anybody that watches our videos would know that. So I feel qualified in saying what I'm about to say. The Diana DZ, for my tastes, is the best Abyss headphones to date. Abyss headphones headphone to date. And the reason is they bring all of the things that I love about the Abyss sound. From the very first model they did, which was the first version, Abyss AB1266.
Right.
It's a certain tactility, a certain physicality, a certain corporeal quality to the image objects that they present. That is, music instruments actually have a physical presence, if you will.
Right.
Like they're coming from something physical. The human voices are coming from something physical, you know, like a human, right? Like there's something, not like they're right in front of you or anything like that, but it's coming from some place physical. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
Now, imagine taking those qualities and then coupling that with maybe the most conventional sound signature of any Abyss headphone to date.
True.
All right. That makes them, to me, my favorite of the Abyss headphones to date. So also, in addition to what I just said, there's some of the changes to the physical design, which aren't obvious when you just look at it.
Right.
So there's a new headband. If you go to Abyss Headphones YouTube channel, which they have a lot of fun videos to watch anyway, but they do a short video about the headband, the redesigned headband. You can't understand what's going on, how intricate this is, without looking inside the headband.
Right.
I'm not going to tear this apart for the purpose, but they do. And look at that. Then you have these new pads, hybrid ear pads with soft ultra suede on the face. They come stock with these. Also very comfortable. And then the mass, low mass, 315 grams. If you're familiar with planar magnetic headphone weight, 315 grams is very lightweight.
Right.
Coupled with the new headband, the new strap design, the new pads, it wears more like a conventional headphone as well. So for all those reasons, this is my favorite. Now, I know you don't agree necessarily because you probably prefer the Diana TC.
Yeah, I'm in the TC camp.
Which I think is still officially a Diana flagship.
It is.
I consider it the co-flagship with the DZ. Now, this is where a little bit of the heresy comes in, right? Because even versus any version of the AB1266, I would say I prefer the Diana DZ.
Okay.
So, and I love the AB1266. But for all those reasons that I've just given, this is my favorite Abyss headphone to date. Now, I want to talk really quickly about the appearance.
Yeah.
Because they're gorgeous. And you can see here we have the violet abalone highlights. You can also get them with Damascus forged carbon fiber and gold forged carbon fiber. And they're beautiful. And if you've ever handled an Abyss headphone of any model, they're built like tanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like billet aluminum everywhere. Just gorgeous. So for $3,995, they are premium price. That's U.S. pricing. But they're not the most expensive of the Abyss headphones. But again, they are my favorites. So at CanJam, make sure to check out the Diana DZ and try the different pads because you can also get lambskin leather or vegan ultra suede pads. I actually also really enjoy these with the vegan base port pads.
Yeah.
So try those too.
Now, we all know Abyss headphones for their full-size headphones and, of course, cables, but they also make The Stand, and I love that name because it's so authoritative. This is The Stand. Perfect naming.
And it is an authoritative stand.
It is, too. Now, The Stand is a wooden headphone stand. It comes in walnut, cherry, or sapele, and it comes with an aluminum frame with a very heavy steel base and large rubber footers. So the nice thing about this stand is that base and the feet bring the weight down and spread it out and make them very stable. So overall, no matter what you do to this stand, it's not going anywhere. Now, when I say heavy, I mean heavy.
Yes.
It's 2.4 kilograms or 5.2 pounds. There's a lot of mass just in this stand. It's wonderful.
And it's almost all low.
Exactly.
And so the center of gravity on the stand is so low that it would take, I think it would almost take a deliberate action to make it tip over.
Yeah.
Because it's on the microphone table, I'm not going to play with it
Sure.
and make all this noise. But I would love to show you what it's like when you try to tip it over. It just rights itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I don't know what you'd have to do to get it to tip over. I've had headphones on it where I've tripped over the cable, and where other stands fall over, this does not.
Yeah. And for a lot of us headfires, when we get a headphone, we invest in that headphone.
Yes.
This is going to make a wonderful bass no matter what headphone you're using. Of course, they're going to want you to use it with Abyss headphones.
Of course.
But no matter what headphone you have, this is an excellent headphone stand to choose because it's just really going to protect whatever investment you have.
And I do love the design, even though it looks simple. The radius of this top wood part that holds the headband was carefully chosen. The curve to match as many headphones as they could get it to match. I love the textured, like the machined wood finish. That's machined wood, and which is grippy, by the way.
It is,
which does help. And so the stand is. I'll say it. I think I can say this is the best headphone stand we have in the office.
I agree.
Unfortunately, we only have one.
Right.
We'll probably have to pick up more. We could probably use more in this office for sure.
Yeah.
So the stand, I mean, that's how much we love it, that we're actually talking about a stand that you cannot miss at CanJam. So these two Sennheiser headphones have taken the community by storm.
Right.
You're holding the Sennheiser HD505. I'm holding the Sennheiser HD550. They were released pretty close to each other, first with the 505, then shortly thereafter the 550. I can see why everybody wants to talk about these, why everybody wants to hear these, because they are, by modern standards of neutrality, probably the most neutral headphones Sennheiser's ever released.
Yeah, probably.
And what I mean is, like, even in the context of the Sennheiser, I think it was the 505s, the HD 505s. They even mentioned, I think, the Harman research, the Harman target.
Yeah.
So you see kind of where they're going. So they have a lot of similarities. Let's talk about what they have in common. So they're both obviously Sennheiser HD 500 series headphones. They're both open back designs. Both have metal mesh ear cup covers. Both use synthetic velour ear pads. Both weigh 237 grams.
Yep.
So again, a lot of similarities. Come similarly packaged as well. Differences though. Price. The HD 505 copper you're holding, $280. The HD 550s I'm holding, $300. Nominal impedance, HD 505s, 120 ohms. These, 150 ohms. All right, now let's talk about the sound. The sound is more, they sound more alike than not, but I find the 550 to be more to my liking. They are both very neutral.
Right.
Both have very extended bass for open backs, but not emphasized bass. But the 550s have a little more bass presence and a little more mid-richness. But when you hear them with some music that doesn't necessarily draw on those differences as much, they sound so much alike.
Yeah.
But when the differences arise, my preference is clearly for the 550. And I think that more people will prefer the 550.
Probably.
Both will be used, I think, very commonly in professional settings eventually, I think.
Yeah.
And then it'll come down to splitting hairs between what the engineer prefers. I still think most will choose the 550. But so to look at the differences, we haven't measured them yet. And I don't like to review measurements, but since Sennheiser put out measurements from their own labs for both models, I thought it would be interesting to do a comparison. So let's put them on the screen. You'll see the HD 550 has a little less upper mid lower treble energy than the 505 and a little more bass. And you'll also notice that both have, again, excellent bass extension for open back headphones.
Right.
And sometimes when you reduce that upper mid lower treble energy, it can result in a richer sounding mid band, and that's the case here. And I think that just that little bit of bass advantage that the 550 has, advantage in my direction anyway.
Yeah.
Combined with that lower upper mid lower treble energy makes it meaningfully better for me. And I think a lot of people will agree. So I compared it also, the HD 550 to the HD 660 S2, because that's another fairly recent Sennheiser open back headphone that I really, really love.
Yeah.
And I also find neutral in a different way. It's neutral in an HD 600 family way.
Yes.
But not necessarily in a Harman way. I'm torn between, but I think
what a lot of people are looking for is this kind of neutrality.
Mm-hmm.
This seems to be of greatest interest to those in the community these days. And for that reason, I think people are going to be seeking these out. I think they're going to become classic models over time.
Yep.
You know, time loves a hero, as Little Feat says. But I think with time, these will become classics, especially the 550. And so at CanJam, check out what I think are the most neutral headphones in a modern sense that Sennheiser's ever made, maybe, and what I think are destined to be classics. In our community, when we're discussing excellent, reasonably priced open back headphones, a model that comes up a lot is the Audio-Technica ATH R70X.
Right.
Deservedly so. I love that headphone for the price. But I'm very excited to say that in my hand is what Audio-Technica describes as the enhanced version of the ATH R70X. This is the Audio-Technica ATH R70XA.
Yeah.
I love this headphone.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about it. This is what they say. Flagship professional open back reference headphones. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Enhanced version of the ATH R70X.
Right.
We both also agree there across the board.
Yes.
We'll cover that point for point. 45 millimeter dynamic driver. We actually don't know what the differences are in the driver, if any.
That's true.
But it sounds better across the board.
Yes.
I'm going to get to its sound signature. Lightweight design. This is another big improvement. So it's 199 grams, so it's lightweight. The other one is lightweight as well. Very comfortable on the head. But what also helps make it more comfortable is we both prefer this new headband design to the wing design of the old R70X.
Yeah, the R70X, I think I've said a number of times I was not a fan of the wing system. The traditional suspension system on this headphone, on the R70XA, so much better.
Yeah, so Brian has a kind of a thinner head. We call him the angelfish around here. I didn't have as much issue with the wings, but I prefer a traditional comfort strap when well implemented. This is very well implemented. Also, interestingly, it has these little magnetic tabs that make it super easy to remove.
Yep.
So if you sweat a lot, and I think in a professional environment, this is going to be important replaceable parts, you can easily replace the comfort strap. That's a key development, and it's very, very comfortable. I find it better than the old design.
Right.
Handcrafted in Japan at their Machida factory.
I love handcrafted headphones.
I do too. I like that it's Japan-made.
Yeah.
470 ohms, like the previous R70X. So here's how they describe it. The ATH R70XA is Audio-Technica's flagship pair of professional open-back reference headphones. This enhanced version of the ATH R70X delivers the natural and balanced sound of its predecessor, but with refined accuracy and detail, providing a heightened listening experience and precise imaging and depth.
100% accurate.
Yes. So that is marketing copy, admittedly, but it happens to be true.
Right.
So we both agree. So I'm going to describe its sound signature as I hear it. This, I didn't think I would necessarily at the price expect that much more refinement out of an R70X, but this gives it to you. The treble I find just to be an improvement.
Right.
So it has, like, I don't want to say smoother because I don't want to give the impression that it's glossing over things.
Sure.
But it has like a more natural sounding treble, which to my ears, okay, it is. It's smoother sounding, but it is more resolving.
Exactly.
This is a more resolving headphone than the original R70X. Also, on the low end side, I feel there's more richness there. Just the overall balance has been improved.
Yeah.
This is as they describe, this is a more refined R70X in terms of imaging. I find it to be comparable. At least it images at least as well as the R70X.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's necessarily better that way, but that's also a compliment, by the way. So at its price, is an open back headphone at $349.
Right.
To have those improvements in what was already an excellent model to my ears, more comfortable, this is going to be immensely popular.
Oh, yeah.
So the ATH R70XA at CanJam will be something you definitely do not want to miss. This is the Audio-Technica ATH R50X. And before we heard them, but were told about them and their price, we thought maybe they would be an open back version of the very popular closed back monitors from Audio-Technica, the ATH M50X.
Yeah, we did.
But they're not. They're their own thing, which is a nice thing, by the way.
Yeah.
So these are open back. This is the ATH R50X. They're $159, so in the same price range as the ATH M50X. Professional open back reference headphones, as described by Audio-Technica. I can see where they're coming from. 45 millimeter dynamic driver. I'm going to get back to that driver in a second. Lightweight design, 207 grams. I thought they were very comfortable.
Very light and very comfy.
I agree. Replaceable ear pads, also very comfortable. Kind of a light touch on the head, by the way.
Yeah.
I like that. 2 cables. 3 meter and 1.2 meter. I like the shorter cable.
So do I.
3.5 millimeter terminated, 50 ohms. They're actually quite easy to drive. Now, about that driver, they say the headphones drivers are modeled after those used in the original ATH R70X, now re-engineered to deliver bass that's surprisingly powerful for an open back model, plus an accurate upper mid-range to ensure the clarity of vocals and lead instruments without sacrificing overall balance.
Yep.
So we were talking about how they sounded when we first heard them, and that's actually consistent with what we were
hearing. I mean, it's like we can kind of understand why they're saying what they're saying.
Exactly.
Now, if what I just read gives you the impression that these are bass heavy, I wouldn't describe these as bass heavy. The emphasis is there, but it's very mild, and it's not like a low bass emphasis. It's not boomy at all. It's more like mid bass as I hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are an open back dynamic, so there's that.
Right.
And they're very open, and they sound very open.
Yeah, they do.
Now, on the upper mid range, that they specifically mentioned that is interesting because I feel like for these, what they were going after was like a more articulate sound.
Yeah, I agree.
And at this price range especially. And to do that, I feel like they kind of gave that upper mid range, lower treble, like a crispness to it. It has like a crisp signature.
It does.
And then that bass gives it a nice rhythm. It's actually a very nice signature at the price. So it's its own thing. It doesn't sound like an open back ATH M50X to me or to you.
Right.
But at that price, it's always exciting to have something affordable that's this nice and open from Audio-Technica. So this, I think, at CanJam, you'll want to audition this.
Now, when you get the opportunity to audition several Sivka headphones at a CanJam, I think people are in for a treat because when you listen to multiple headphones in their family, you get a variety of sound signatures, everything from fun and exciting to linear and reference and everything in between. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, they don't have, in my experience, like a house sound.
Yeah, I agree.
And that, to me, makes their exhibits in some ways more fun.
Yeah, and this is joining that fun. So this is the Sivka Peng. It is inside is a 50 millimeter LCP dynamic driver that's liquid crystal polymer, and that's housed within a lovely African zebra wood cup. I love the finish on this. The machining for the hardware is a CNC machined aviation aluminum for the housing and the bracket, and that has a nice gunmetal anodizing finish to it. I love gunmetal when I see it. It's kind of like one of those things, like titanium.
Right.
You just see it and you go, oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like
gunmetal does that for me too. It has a steel headband with a leather strap, lamb leather, I believe, and it has angled ear pads. Now, we've talked about this ear pad shape before, but Sivka has done several face studies to figure out the contour and shaping for what they consider the perfect pad to get that seal. And it's a very unique bump in the middle, but I find it extremely comfortable. I think it's going to be comfortable for a lot of different heads.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, and it's comfortable on me too. And we have very differently shaped heads.
Yes.
And yet, their headphones that use that pad style seem to be very comfortable for both of us.
I agree. And I think another part of that comfort comes from the fact that you have very wide swivel and good articulation up and down on the ear cups as well. It gets you, because I have a narrow head, so sometimes there's not enough articulation to get that seal for me.
Right.
I will mention also the cable that it comes with is terminated dual, 3.5 millimeter for the headphone, 4.4 millimeter for your device. But in the box, or in the case, I guess, you get a 4.4 millimeter to 3.5 millimeter adapter and a 3.5 millimeter to 6.35 millimeter adapter. So pretty much out of the case, you're set to go for most devices you're going to connect this to.
Yeah, I like their cables actually with their headphones.
I do too, and the adapters are quite nice to have.
I actually use one of their adapters in our measurement rig to adapt 4.4 to single-ended.
Yeah, it's really nice to have. And then I mentioned it has that leather carrying case.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to sound signature because, like we said before, you can get a wide variety of sound signatures, and this one stands out as a very unique sound signature to me. So listening to it, I like to start at the top end, and to me, I found a good amount of treble detail and presence, but I found this more upper mid-range focused. And then on the low end, I think a lot of people are going to find it lean. For me, I think it's actually a good place, especially the mid-bass. I like where that is currently. It does kind of have a roll-off as you get into the sub-bass range. But if you're not listening to a lot of sub-bass heavy music, this actually clicks for a lot of those genres.
I'm hearing the sub-bass is subdued.
It is.
Maybe it has the extension, but it's subdued. Like the levels are lower, so I agree with you on that. And I also agree with you that it's a mid-focus sound to me and smooth.
Yeah.
It's like overall smooth signature to me, like fatigue-free.
Yeah, so if anybody's looking for a fatigue-free sound signature and you love the mid-range, which, I mean, come on, what headfires don't?
Yeah.
This is definitely one to check out at CanJam. Where can you find Dan Clark Audio, Deconi Audio, and many other headphone brands? At Electromod's CanJam London exhibit. Let's take a look at just some of the headphones and accessories you'll find from these two companies at the show. In November of 2024, Dan Clark Audio released this headphone right here. This is the Dan Clark Audio Noir X. Now, the Noir X is the evolution. A lot of people know the name, the Aeon 2 family. This is the evolution of that platform, and it surprised us and a lot of the community as when it came out because it offers incredible value. So Dan Clark Audio, they tend to release new features and technologies in their flagship products, and it's always exciting when they bring it to more affordable ones. Well, this is highly packed with a lot of that technology. So, for example, inside it has their AMTS or acoustic metamaterial tuning system. It has a new driver system. It has the collapsible headband. It has the self-tensioning headband. It has the lovely memory metal up top. And I think they're beautiful Gorilla Glass. I think that's Gorilla Glass cups
It is. I think it
on
is.
the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds phenomenal. And in the US, it's $9.99. It's
Yeah.
very, very good.
I think it's
value.
actually one of their biggest hits sales-wise. And
I'm
doesn't-
not surprised.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. Like you said, the value's so strong. You mentioned the driver improvement. I'm going to get to that when I talk about this one.
Yeah.
But I do want to say about the Noir X, which I think some people will find very interesting. It tracks the Harman target very closely.
Yes, it does. And a lot of people want Harman voicing these days.
Yeah, and or just curious, what does a Harman targeted headphone
True.
sound like?
Yep.
Well, listen to the Noir X, and you will hear what a Harman targeted headphone sounds like. It matches it very tight.
Yes.
Also, as a closed back headphone goes, it's extremely resolving.
Mhm.
And as Dan Clark Audio does with just about every closed back headphone I think they've ever done, it sounds almost open back in
Yeah.
terms of its imaging for a closed back.
Right.
So wonderful headphone. Not surprised it's been the hit that it's been, but now I want to talk about its actual open back sibling.
Yeah.
So this is the Dan Clark Audio Noir XO. I want to say, first of all, we did a whole video about these, including an interview with Dan Clark, a review, measurements, the whole bit. So make sure to check that out on our channel. But I still want to talk about them briefly here for the CanJam preview. The Dan Clark Audio Noir XO, again, is the open back counterpart to the Noir X. I believe they use the same driver platform.
I believe so.
It's improved, like you said earlier, over the Aeon 2.
Yeah.
Platform with the drivers are more rigid, lower distortion with tighter unit-to-unit consistency. Also, both have improved ear pads. There's an Alcantara synthetic suede, super comfortable on the face side.
Very.
So I find these to be exceedingly comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, I want to also say now regarding the sound, like the Noir X, the Noir XO, which is open back, matches the Harman target very tight as well. In fact, both of these headphones measure almost identically.
Yeah.
But they don't sound exactly the same.
Right.
That's a whole nother topic, which I won't get into now, but they don't sound exactly the same, even though they measure within just like dBs of each other. And the Noir XO is what I prefer if I had to pick between one or the other, just in terms of sound signature.
Right.
I find these to be just a hair richer sounding, even though they measure almost identically. And being that they are actually open back, they do actually image even wider than the Noir X's.
Right.
And that's actually saying something, by the way, going back to that Harman target, to achieve that bass lift that they get from the really clean mids with an open back isn't easy. As they say, it's bass response similar to a closed back headphone.
Yeah.
Not easy to do with an open back. So wonderful headphones. This is $1,299, so it's a little more expensive than that one, which is $999. So the XO is a little more expensive, but still at their prices, I find them to be flagship class performance headphones, and they're Dan Clark Audio's, I think, among their most affordable headphones.
Deconi Audio is best known in our space for their line of premium aftermarket ear pads replaceable for your full-size headphones.
IEM ear tips, too.
They make IEM ear tips. They make full-size headphone cases, which the Savior case is fantastic. We have a number of those around
We
here.
have like a dozen of them now.
Yeah.
They're fantastic cases.
They are.
Yeah.
And Deconi Audio is getting into a new category in the headphone space, and that excites me. They're getting into cables, and I have one right here. And you're probably wondering, wow, why is that cable so short? Well, when you think about premium replacement headphone cables with swappable terminations, every single time it's swapped at the termination side. And for Deconi Audio, they've gone with a different direction. They're swapping it, they're doing the split at the Y splitter. So they're two separate parts. One stays connected to your headphone, one stays connected to your device, and you can just swap between them back and forth as you needed. They're keyed. They have a locking detent system, and they just snap right into place.
It actually feels nice.
Yeah, and then it locks. And I love that security. So they come in a couple different versions. So what I'm holding here right now is a cloth wrapped silver in a Deconi blue sleeving. They also have a braided silver plated copper cable, and we have that currently connected to the HD660S2 up here on the table. Now you notice we have a couple different headphone models because they have a couple different terminations for the headphone side.
A few different
ones.
Yeah.
So they have 3.5 millimeter dual mono, which we currently have connected to the HIFIMAN. They have the 4-pin mini XLR, which we currently have connected to the ZMFheadphones. And they have HD600 family connectors, which we currently have connected to the Sennheiser, and I have it here in my hand.
Okay, I want to talk. Can I just talk about that one real quick?
Sure.
That one I think is particularly important because, as any longtime HD600 650 owner knows, that's an old school connector.
Very much so.
So it wasn't really made, I don't think, to be removed and inserted a zillion times.
Right.
And so they've been known on the headphone side to wear out if you overdo that.
Yes.
So being able to swap cables and terminations but leaving the earpiece sides in, the ear side cable plugs in, I think is crucially important, in my opinion, for HD 600, 650 owners.
I agree. And if you pick up multiple headphone connections and then you just pick up a single one of the main line, you can just swap back and forth at the Y split. You're not going to have to worry about toggling things back and forth. It also actually ends up saving you a little bit because you're buying less cabling in the long run.
Right.
Now, as far as on the other end of the cable, it comes in a 4.4 millimeter connection or a 6.35 or quarter-inch connection. They've talked about looking at other connectors for future lines. We might potentially see something like a 4-pin XLR down the road. We might see other connectors for headphones, like hopefully maybe an HD 800 potentially down the road. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out from these. However, the nice thing is you can bring your headphones to CanJam, pop over and give the Deconi Audio Ensemble cables a try, find out if they're going to work for your rig.
Now, in that Deconi Audio segment that we just watched, a little time has passed since we recorded that, time that has proven you a bit of a fortune teller, because in that segment you mentioned that you expected and hoped for support for more headphones.
Yeah.
And we then recently got this. So this is the Deconi Audio Ensemble now supporting the Focal Utopia's LEMO connectors.
Yes.
The timing could not have been better. As you well know, I was just looking for Utopia cable terminated in 4.4 millimeter. So thank you, Deconi Audio, because now I can terminate this Utopia cable in 4.4 millimeter. So thanks for that. Now, you also mentioned on the amp side you expected and hoped for more support for different plugs.
Right.
And you specifically mentioned 4-pin XLR, and as if on cue, 4-pin XLR Ensemble. They are also going to be supporting 2.5 millimeter on the amp side, which is great. Now, there is still another thing that has come up since we recorded that, and that's another material option. So you mentioned cloth wrapped silver and braided silver plated copper as two options. There's now a third. It's PCUHD copper. This is actually in PCUHD copper. I believe that stands for pure copper ultra high drawability. So still another beautiful option to choose when you're buying the ensemble cables.
Yeah, there's one more exciting thing I also want to mention. So as you know, when production gets bigger, sometimes we see costs come down on the retail side because, you know, the economy is, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that might be what's happening here because the Deconi Audio Ensemble system used to start around $120. Well, now it's starting around $80. That's a pretty steep discount, and that's the permanent price going forward. If you only need half of the system, that now starts at $40. So when you think about what the Deconi Audio Ensemble offered in terms of value previously, it was already great. But now we have more connectors. There are more still on the way, and it's more affordable than ever. The value just shot through the roof for me.
Yes. So now, obviously, they are giving you more options than we discussed in that previous segment. So make sure at CanJam to bring your headphones to Deconi Audio's exhibit and check out the ensemble system.
One last addition to Deconi Audio's family that I cannot wait to audition is their new Deconi Audio Elite Suede for Noble Audio's Focus Apollo. These just landed, and CanJam London is the first place to try them for yourself.
They had my attention with the word tube.
Yeah, they did.
They had me at tube. This is the Acoot TH1. It's a wireless headphone, and you can use it wired as well. We'll get to that in a minute. But inside, Acoot says that it uses a triode vacuum tube preamp that uses the new tube 6P1 dual triode vacuum tube. Yeah. Very, very cool. The driver is a 40 millimeter titanium transducer dynamic driver, and it has inside dual DAC design. Very cool. And it also has a high bias Class AB dual mono amplifier.
Yeah.
Also very cool. So it sounds like they're taking that sort of component, like separate audio components approach, crammed into a headphone form factor.
Yeah, I like that design.
I do too. I think that's the way to do it for audiophile wireless headphones. Now, transparency mode and ANC, which is nice. So now we're getting into the more wireless headphone type features. Active hybrid noise cancellation, so feed forward and feedback ANC.
Right.
Bluetooth 5.3 with SBC, AAC, and LDAC.
And I'm glad it has LDAC.
I am too. I think most audiophiles for a premium wireless headphone are going to expect one of the high-res codecs at least, and this has LDAC. Thank goodness. Analog and digital input. Now, this brings me to how you use it wired. So for analog, there's 3.5 millimeter. For digital, USB-C. And I believe then you'd be activating the dual DACs inside.
Right.
And you can decode up to 32-bit, 384 kilohertz, which is very nice. 20-hour runtime at max volume. That's an interesting spec.
Yeah, it is.
So Ethan, he's one of our colleagues. Ethan, you can listen at your normal listening volume for 20 hours with these. He listens very loudly. What can I say? He does. 3.5 hours to a full charge, 30 hours standby, which is nice. It comes with the Acoot tuning app.
Oh, yeah, I want to mention something about that because I think I spent more time with the app than you did.
You definitely did, yeah.
But you pair it with the headphone, and then you can swipe through. It's a very simple interface, but there's a lot of preset EQs. I gravitated towards two of them. I'll let you guys kind of guess which two. But there's a lot of options pretty much right out of the box. You have to try it with the app when you demo this.
Yeah, it's actually a nice, elegant app.
It is.
I mostly listen to it in its default signature.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in just a second. So Siri and Google Assistant support, gunmetal or satin aluminum finish. I believe this is the satin aluminum finish.
Yes.
$799. So it's premium priced, but it is a premium wireless headphone with all those things I've already talked about, and also tube stuff, which I dig. All right. The default sound signature to me is like even-handed for a wireless headphone. Because with wireless headphones, you get oftentimes like a bass-boosted signature.
Yeah.
And this actually has a pretty bass-tame signature. I would call it kind of the perceived flat bass signature to my ears. And then overall, just a nice even-handed, detailed response. Like these are audiophile wireless headphones to me.
Yeah.
And then if you want more of anything, the tuning app that we just talked about.
Absolutely.
So at CanJam, if you're looking for a premium headphone, even if you're a tube enthusiast or not a tube enthusiast, either way, you're looking for a premium wireless headphone at CanJam, these you have to audition. This is, again, the Acoot TH1. This is the Warwick Acoustics Bravura.
Yeah.
This is an electrostatic headphone and part of an electrostatic headphone system. I will explain that in just a minute. So the Bravura, I love this headphone, by the way. I think this is probably right up your alley, too.
That is.
So this is the successor to a model that was released many years ago now called the Sonoma Model 1. Now, the Sonoma Model 1 was a good headphone.
Yeah.
It was a good first effort. And that was also, of course, an electrostatic headphone. And that one I found to be on the bright, lean side. I also felt that its headband was a bit uncomfortable. It had very high caliper pressure on my fat head.
Right.
All right. So this one, though, is a lot more comfortable. So let's start with that. That you can see the headband, if you've ever seen the Model 1, this is quite an evolution just on the headband design.
Oh, yeah.
Way more comfortable. But even more importantly was whatever they did to the driver makes this a much better sounding headphone.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they did specifically, but it's substantially better. So let's talk about that driver because it's still the same driver technology that they innovated for the development of the Model 1. But again, clearly they've evolved it. That driver is called HPEL, High Precision Electrostatic Laminate Transducers. And unlike conventional transducers, the HPEL, according to them, uses a laminated film that is just 15 microns thick, and the film is affixed to a cell structure and machine tensioned with extreme accuracy to create small sound-producing drum skins. And then their software fine-tunes each drum skin for optimal resonant frequencies. And then, to ensure that it doesn't bend and to maintain a strong structure, they encase the driver in a super rigid polycarbonate cassette. So again, this uses HPEL still, but whatever they did with all of that I was just talking about in the Bravura is much better done than with the Model 1. So this, I would say, okay, they say it's voiced with studios and professional work in mind. Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
I can too. So I think this, again, would be right up your alley. I would say it's in the range of neutrality, much more refined sounding for sure than the Model 1. This is a better headphone. So if you've heard the Model 1 at any of the shows, don't assume anything about the Bravura from that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mentioned that it's an electrostatic headphone system. That's because the Bravura comes as a system with the Sonoma M1 DAC amp that uses 32-bit ESS Saber DACs in dual mono design, 32-bit multi-channel ADC with balanced input buffers because the inputs are all ADC'd, 64-bit fixed point digital signal processing, Class A amplifier. Not everybody wants to work hard to assemble a system.
No, some just want a turnkey solution.
And that's what this is. It's a turnkey electrostatic headphone system I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So at CanJam, when you have a chance to listen to the Warwick Acoustics Bravura, do not miss it. What a wonderful electrostatic headphone system.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to make sure you know about some new headphones that we haven't personally experienced, which means they're on our audition lists this CanJam London. Final will have their recently announced DX6000 open back dynamic headphones. Linsol will be showing the new KiwiEars Athea planar and dynamic hybrid headphones. And Spirit Torino will have their planar magnetic Centauri Pro. Well, as you've probably already guessed, CanJam London 2025 is shaping up to be the largest CanJam London ever, happening July 19th and 20th, 2025 at the Park Plaza Westminster Bridge Hotel in Westminster, London. Now, we didn't have time to cover every product that's going to be at CanJam, nowhere near. So, scrolling on the screen now is a list of all of the exhibitors and brands you'll find at CanJam London 2025. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future CanJam previews and future gear reviews. We'll see you in London and on the forums at headfi.org.